You are about to witness history in the making.
Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to another Pop Culture Gamers podcast. My name's Haydn, and I'm here as always with Steve. He's waving for those of you who are on the podcast version and who are not, and as you can hear, he's coughing. So I know that I'm the odd one, and Steve is the even one, but I'm going to host tonight as opposed to Steve. Because when he starts coughing too much, I say he starts talking too much, he starts coughing too much. So
I might appreciate that.
Yeah. So we're just going to have a little bit of a swap around this week. So Steve, maybe very succinctly, seeing as before you don't start going into loads of coughing, what have you been doing, mate?
Not a lot. I've been off with I suppose it's like a flu. And for 3 days I was knocked out.
Yeah.
And over a week later, it's just this chest and the cough I've got. So it's driving my missus nuts at the minute. So I can really say about it. Yeah, not a lot to talk about really there. A bit of telly, some movies and stuff, a little bit of gaming, obviously. What else really? Just playing a few games. I can be quiet doing that. It's not too bad.
Yeah.
So
have you actually been off sick?
I was off sick for 3 days, so I was working from home the rest of the time.
Right.
As I could. I did go out for a day or two last week, but yeah. So yeah. Other than that, not much else happening really. I've got some backlog of vinyl starting to ship across now. The pressing plants again taking their time to do it.
Yeah.
And Disney are finally shipped. Although I'm not keen on the film. John Williams' score for Dial of Destiny would just be added to the collection.
Or is it Dial of Dysentery?
Yeah. That I don't know if it's colour vinyl or if it's going to be whatever, or brown vinyl maybe. Who knows? But
I have to admit though, it was still better than Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. But to be honest, that is such a low bar that to get over it doesn't need any form of climbing to get over it.
It's the same. It's the same with The Exorcist: The Believer, which I haven't seen yet. Which is reportedly to be a bad movie from a lot of people I've spoken to. I will get to watch it. It's funny because although I haven't spoken to Sky yet, they brought a new thing out for Sky Movies, and you get 2 free cinema tickets a month.
Yes, and we also, you get either Psycho or The Invisible Man for free this month as well.
And I did the right thing and downloaded Psycho.
Yeah, and I did the other right thing and downloaded the other one.
The Invisible Man, maybe even have a digital copy here somewhere, but yeah. But yeah, 2 you get for the View Cinema, which is a bit of a shame. If it was the Odeon, it would have helped.
Yeah, View's a bit of a pain.
Yeah, my local View is going to be about 40 minutes away.
Yeah.
But, we were going to go, but I've been ill. But to the lucky of the world of subscriptions and that, I was able to see one of the movies I wanted to see, which was Saw 10 and Mission Impossible, which I accidentally bought on Sky, but there you go, it is what it is. I'll probably have to rebuy it now in 4K when I want to get the disc version.
Well, isn't Sky the 4K version anyway?
It wasn't. It was only HD.
Oh.
It wasn't UHD, I don't think, for some reason, which is a bit bizarre.
I'm sure that The Invisible Man is UHD.
Might be, yeah. So, but I will pick it up at some point anyway. Well, hopefully if I can talk a little bit without coughing my guts up, I can talk about it.
So, the Sky thing, how do you get the tickets? You just go on the app, and is it set movies, or is it just any free, 2 free tickets?
No, you use your Sky app, my Sky app on your phone.
Yeah.
And you can acknowledge on there that you want them, and it will let you. I think the only day you can't go, I think it's a Saturday night.
Right.
I think it's Sunday to Thursday. And you can any film you want.
That's not bad then, is it?
They have been pushing it on the telly a bit. I don't know if you noticed.
Yeah, I have, with Idris Elba, yeah. Yeah.
So they've been pushing it quite a bit, which is quite good, actually, because I said to the missus, I know we haven't had the right opportunity, and we've had a few things in the way at the moment with family life. So we've not been able to get to the cinema, although I've been able to get to see the films eventually that I've been wanting to see over the last 3 months.
I'll have to have a look at it because, obviously there's the Marvels coming out next week. And while I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, I think that this is going to be a really long train wreck of a movie. It's a Marvel movie and I want to see it because I am enjoying Loki. I'll talk about that later on. Yeah, it's not as good as last time, but I'm still enjoying it. I'm enjoying the story. I think, to be honest, Loki's actually the best thing that Marvel's got going for it at the moment.
All the way since going back to the Avengers stuff, I suppose.
Yeah.
That's a lot. The last stuff that they've had.
They're gonna. I think that come phase 8, 9, 10, they'll reboot the whole universe, and it'll be concentrating on X-Men for a while.
Yeah. I've been watching, although we don't talk about TV section, I've been watching a bit of Doctor Who, and with the trailers coming out for the new 3-part episodes leading up for the 60th anniversary.
Yeah.
I've been watching some of the David Tennant ones over his tenure. Or should we say his first tenure, because he will be the 14th Doctor. That is set in stone. He is. It's not.
But he won't be. But
he is.
No, he won't be the 14th Doctor because
I've seen the image from BBC, and he's in the image twice. He's at the front and he's at the back. So he's actually. Don't argue with me.
I'm not arguing with you. But the whole point was that the timeless child set up at the fact that the Doctor has had many more regenerations than
but the BBC are saying this is the 14th Doctor because of all the actors that have played it. So regardless of anything else in the background, he's the 14th Doctor, I'm guessing, and then the new guy, when he comes in, will be the 15th.
Yeah, we'll just forget about the black female Doctor then. Which they brought in. You know what I mean? It's like they're not even being consistent with the
Which one was that again? Remind me quickly.
Well, she's the new one who precedes William Hartnell's Doctor.
Oh well, yeah, because it's BBC talking of what they've had on screen.
Yeah, but she has been on screen. That's the whole point.
Yeah, but she's not had a tenure as such.
No, she hasn't had her own series, but nevertheless, she's been in the other series. Do you know what I mean? So it's just they're being completely inconsistent with their own canon.
Although, what's his name that played in the 60th? No, sorry, the 50th anniversary now. Is it really that long ago? Is it the 50th one with John Hurt?
Yeah, it was. It would have been, wouldn't it? Because he's been dead a few years now.
Because he's the Doctor before Christopher Eccleston. So, yeah, but the BBC and I think the guys now leading the show again have said that they want still to bring something else, and apparently they filmed something else to come out. They did a week's worth of shooting with 3 writers.
It's a new Torchwood, isn't it? So they're bringing that back. Supposed
no,
to
they just all I've heard is that he said I wanted to do more. So as well as from the 1st of November, we're going to have all the BBC shows on BBC iPlayer. So we'll have from William Hartnell up to date. Although the controversy behind the Unearthly Child, which is because of someone else with the licensing, they're going to do an audio version of that. So
sorry, different episode. I was thinking about the Timeless Child. Sorry.
Which one's got the license issues? Is it Timeless Child?
One of them has.
Yeah, you'd have to Google it, but you find it. Yeah, there's one of them's got issues, and someone's. I'm not saying he's being arsey because he's every right to, because he's related, so it's in his hands, and he's asking for money for them to show it, and he said, he wants a fair cut for it, but it's like with licensing, it's an awful bitter fight between people. So yeah, but yeah, that's gonna be quite good. So the 25th of November is gonna be the first one. Although you're not too keen on it, as you said to me the other day when we were talking.
No, it's not that I'm not keen on Doctor Who. I always used to be, but I think that the way that Doctor Who has gone in the last
2 years,
yeah,
after
I hate to say
Peter
it because
Capaldi. I know we're not picking on
Capaldi. No, I'm not picking on Jodie Whittaker at all.
No,
because she was handed a bag of rubbish to project, and she did her best with it. But it was terrible writing. The master was the worst master we've ever had. The stories were awful. And all of this about making the Doctor not be a Time Lord at all, and that he was actually captured as a child when he was a female child, was captured by a Time Lord, and then they found out the regeneration powers and managed to replicate it into the Time Lords, and then they keep wiping his memory every 13 regenerations. It's rubbish. It really is, especially when you've had all of that canon before with Peter Davison, with like Omega and stuff like that, the Time Lord who invented the Time Lords effectively. I was just so, this is the Ryan Johnson of Doctor Who, to be honest. What's happened here, it's like somebody who doesn't understand the content and has wrote gibberish, and for some reason being supported to do it. And it was just
but it's now in good hands though.
Oh yeah, it's back in the original showrunner's hands, which is great, because he did a great job. Look at how far Doctor Who, especially with when you had David Tennant originally, and Matt Smith, even Christopher Eccleston. He only came for one season, but he did a fantastic job. Peter Capaldi, I like Peter Capaldi. I just think he had rubbish scripts. I think, to be honest, the decline started when Matt Smith left and it went to Peter Capaldi. Again, not because of Peter Capaldi. He's a fantastic actor, same as Jodie Whittaker. It is just the writing of it was just not good at all. And I think it's been a writing for the last several years on the Doctor since Matt Smith left. That last episode with Matt Smith where he was on Trenzalore, that was a great episode.
Yeah, when he thought he was going to be dying there, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I did watch that one recently as well. So the extensive back catalogue will be available on BBC iPlayer.
Yeah.
On the 1st of November. There's over 800 episodes.
That'll keep you busy for a weekend.
Wouldn't it?
Yeah.
But
I mean, I think for me, what I was saying wasn't the fact that of course I want a new Doctor Who, but I feel like because they've stretched this out for 2 years since Jodie Whittaker left, I just feel
I don't know, because it was a year ago, wasn't it?
Well, a year ago but it's more than a year anyway. And I think the thing is it's just been teased so much. I'm just sort of like, I believe it when I see it, and I'm fed up of hearing it now. I just want to watch it, get it out of the way. Do you know what I mean? I just feel like rather than building it up and getting my excitement, it's peed me off, because I think that they could, all of this has been filmed for months. The effects have been done for months. It could have been on at Easter, and then they could have done one end of summer, and then they could have done the Christmas special. But that would have been better.
But what they wanted to do, so there's the image. You can see that. That's the image of all the Doctors with before they got the new one, the 15th.
Yeah.
And you can see that David Tennant's in there twice. Because the anniversary is in November, they want to save it for that 6-year actual date. So I think that's why they've done it. But it would be good to go back to the 60s. Actually, more so for me.
She is there. She is there.
Is she?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
The what you call it? I forgot what they call her. The Outlaw Doctor or something like that. They call her, don't they?
Yeah.
She's next to Jodie Whittaker, between Jodie Whittaker and Peter Davidson. And
then in the background, you've still got. I can't even zoom in on that picture, can I? So let's close that. So so there.
You do know that there are 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 Doctors.
But they're saying he's the 14th. They have their reasons.
But
I'm not going to moan over it. To be fair, blimey, and I know you're very fastidious and can be, but yeah, it is what it is. End of the day. But I think a lot of people are glad to see him back. And he didn't want to go, I don't think, even though it is what it is. So yeah, it'd be good.
Yeah, I think they should get Michael Sheen as Doctor Who.
Oh, there's a couple I think we've talked about over the years that we'd like to see there.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to see him as Doctor Who. I mean, he's best mates with David Tennant anyway, isn't he? But I think he would probably make the best Doctor.
You never know.
He's that sort of character actor.
Yeah. At the moment, they're filming the second season
of the new Doctor. Yeah.
Yeah, they are. So they're filming that at the moment. So.
I mean, I hope he was great in. I forgot what it's called. Sex Education.
That's right. Yeah.
He was really good in that. He played a really great character, very over the top sort, but a very flamboyant kind of thing, but not in a RuPaul sort of way. Just a very out there sort of, but somebody who's also like struggling with like some of the way that society treats him because he was gay, and that he did it really, really well. I loved his character, but so is he I hope he's good Doctor. That's all. I don't know if he's like the right person or not, because he's very young. What is he, 24, 25, something like that?
Yeah, something like that.
But then again, I suppose Matt Smith wasn't he? And he ended up being, for years I didn't like Matt Smith, and then suddenly something went in my head, and I got it.
Well, I think it's funny because I did like his portray. It felt very like the second Doctor. I thought that sort of whimsical.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. He was a very Patrick Troughton sort of Doctor.
Yeah, very whimsical character.
But with aspects of David Tennant's Doctor as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I've got season 5 actually soundtrack incoming now.
Right.
It's three albums for season 5.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of music from that season was carried over a little bit into others. And they also did another musical show for the anniversary. I don't think it was. I think you can hear it on BBC Sounds, but I don't think it's been shown on TV. I'm not 100% sure. I haven't found it. So, because what they did is they one of the things they did show was the new theme,
right,
for the new series.
Was it good?
Yeah, it sounds really good. You can probably just find at least a theme on YouTube for that. So I think there's a lot of hype, and I think a lot of people I know that have been been on this for years, I think are really looking forward to a little bit of fresh air with it. I think I mean, some people were saying that Matt Smith might get involved at some point. Maybe I don't know if there's a to have him in there again. You know?
I know exactly what's going to happen. In a couple of weeks' time after it's aired, I'm going to be raving about it, and you're going, "That was a load of rubbish."
No. But no, I think I think you can't go wrong with Tennant, and and having his other half back with him as well. Catherine Tate.
Yeah,
she's very funny, and from what I've seen of some of the clips, she's as good as she was when she was in there with him. Quite a few years ago now.
I know, it's unbelievable, isn't it? What is it, about 10 or 12 years, something like that?
Yeah.
Where did that time go?
It's crazy. I did actually watch the first episode where they're looking at the slimming pill. I watched that one, as well as the
one with the fat,
the fat just walks away.
I'll tell you what, I wish I could have some of that. I thought I could lose a few stone that way.
Because Sarah Lancashire was in that as well, bless her, she was the villain. So I think I'm looking forward to it. I have scanned some of the last couple of years specials that they did. I haven't watched. I think I watched the very last one where you see David Tennant materialise in the Regeneration, and there's one with Captain Jack as well, which was quite interesting. I still like him. He's Bring Back Torchwood. I've always thought that. I love that show. You'll have to listen to the radio shows that are on Amazon. They're quite good.
Yeah,
they've done for that. Yeah, so I've been blabbering on a little bit too much. So, what about yourself? Do you want to ramble on and?
Yeah, I'll have a ramble now.
Let me drink this wine as a medicinal purpose.
Yeah, of course it is. So, been really busy for the last few weeks. A couple of weeks ago, I went to EGX in London.
Cool, that was a while ago, wasn't it?
I did 2-3 weeks ago. Took my boy as well, so we had a good day out going around everything. Met a few indie developers and that sort of stuff. Talked to them about our podcast and might be hopefully getting a couple of interviews lined up with some developers.
Did they, when you spoke to them, how did they come across with you?
Oh yeah, absolutely fine. It's like I think probably it's a sort of like shared pain because we're not the biggest.
No, we're little. We're right down the bottom somewhere,
Actually, when you actually look at our numbers and what the averages are, we're probably in about the top 40% for podcasts in terms of what average YouTube, average downloads and that sort of stuff is. I think we end up by a lot of the things I've been looking at around about between 30 and 40%, somewhere in there. But the numbers start going up exponentially larger the higher up that you go. When you get like the BBC that get 12 gazillion downloads per episode, with big names and stuff like that. We're never going to compete with that, never expect to compete with that. At the end of the day, we do this because we enjoy doing it.
It's for fun at the end of the day, isn't it?
And it's for fun. It gives us a chance to have a chat once every few weeks. And it's just a bit of fun for hopefully everybody who's listening as well, or a chance for people to get really annoyed with us one way or the other. But yes, I think that some of them felt the pain in terms of it's difficult to get that stage and stuff like that. And out of the bit, they saw how much that we'd put out there, and they gave us a terrific interview, 45 minutes. I really enjoyed talking to them. They were an absolute blast of a group of guys and girls as well, because I was, their press officer as well. And, when I was there, I just talked to more developers. I also ran into Out of the bit as well. Got a photograph taken with them and stuff like that. It was really nice actually meeting them face to face after I'd talked to them and done so much with them, in terms of I've done 2 walkthroughs for Full Void, for example.
That's right.
And done a lot of talking in terms of some Evercade groups about what the game's like, and shared some videos and stuff like that. So it was quite nice, actually, having a chat with them. So and then they told us about some other developers who were seemed to be very nice and friendly and approachable. So went and chatted to them, got some details, emailed a few people, met another couple of ones as well. I'm hoping to get when I was there, I met a developer for accessories for controllers. And these are aimed at, they're attachments for your controller that make your gaming better, supposedly. And
is that when we got 60-year-old hands to help us? Do you know what I mean?
When I was talking to them, because the guys were Dave and Dave. Dave worked for Dave.
Dave 1 and Dave 2.
Yeah, so I spoke to Dave 2, but Dave 1 was the guy in charge, as it were. So I'm now going to be I'm now emailing Dave 1 as opposed to Dave 2. So hopefully we'll get them on, and we'll get a look at their products, because they are designed for all controllers, like Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, and there are attachments that go on that give you more precision and stuff like that. And I think that they're interchangeable, but I'm not sure. But anyway, I'm hoping to get them on, get some sight of their actual products and stuff like that. Hopefully test them out as well, to give them a bit of a review. And talk to them about their development cycle and stuff like that, because obviously it's quite interesting hearing about how if you've got an idea about something for your computer, or for something that would be good for a console, how do you go about from that concept to the design to the testing to the launching of it and the marketing and stuff like that. And that's sort of like what Out of the Bit did with us. So I'm at the stage at the moment where I've sent them some questions that said I'd be interested to this is what I was thinking about talking to you about. Anything you want to add, you're not happy about any of the questions, that sort of thing's pretty much standard practice.
Yeah, their press officer will say yay or nay to a question, won't they? So
yeah, well, I think that's Dave.
Dave and Dave,
yeah, I think it's Dave and Dave. But yeah, so I'm just waiting for them, because I know that they were at MCM Comic Con in London this week. So I'm hoping that we'll get those, get Dave, one or the other of them, on to talk about, some of their products and stuff like that. But EGX offered a lot of chance to speak to a lot of other ones. So like I said, I'd already spoken to Out of the Bit, and met them, got some photographs with them, and then from there, when they said, you might want to have a chat with these producers, for the games and stuff like that. Had a chat with some, got some emails, sent some emails off, just waiting for some people to come back. Had some communication with 1 or 2 people. There's been, I've just thought, for years we've not approached people.
No.
So I've just tried approaching a few people, but obviously I'm not going to a place like Microsoft and that, because they won't be bothered about us. Whereas an indie developer is more probably our bag, really, because it goes like with us, and they know that it's a similar sort of field, and for the relatively low cost of a bit of time or whatever, they can bring the product to awareness of more people. And we can find out about stuff that we might not have found out about otherwise. So other than that, this week was a big week for me. For the last 6 months, I've been designing a conference, and it happened, and it all went smoothly, and I was very happy. 250 people, all designated safeguarding leads and that from schools. So that was a really good week for me as far as I'm concerned. Interestingly enough, the subscriber count on our YouTube video has been quite weird, because we've seen a lot of growth compared to what it was over the last several weeks, and then it all stopped for a week, got no growth at all, and then actually started to shrink, and I was a bit, what is going on here? Anyway, evidently my son, who's got like a gazillion more subscribers than I have, in a matter of fact, to the point of the point of he's actually now earning money from YouTube. He's just about to get his first pay check from YouTube.
What's that, a £5?
No, nearly 80 quid.
Oh, good on him.
Yeah, really pleased for him. But he said he's had exactly the same issue. So I don't know if YouTube have been doing something to their algorithm, or they've not been searching properly, or there's been a bit of an issue. But yeah, it certainly had an impact for us. But hopefully we should be reaching the big milestone for the sort of like 500 somewhere in the next 4 months, 5 months, I'm hoping, if we keep on as we are.
Yeah, I was just looking at my channel, and that stayed at 400 for quite a while.
Yeah.
I'm only gone up to 416 now, but that goes in fits and starts anyway. Yeah, crazy.
Yeah. So that's about it, really. So shall we move on to Gaming This Week?
No longer a dream, but a reality.
All right, so Gaming This Week, and we've got a bit of news, to be honest. So first off, Spider-Man 2. So for those of you who have been swinging into action and purchased this game, this came out on the 20th of October, and fans have actually been flocking to join Peter and Miles on their new adventures, because it set record numbers. So since launching, Marvel's Spider-Man 2 on a PS5 has sold more than 2.5 million copies in 24 hours.
Well, they couldn't play Starfield, so I suppose they had to buy something, didn't they? Really?
Yeah, they got a better game.
Okay.
But yeah, it's making it the fastest selling PlayStation Studios game ever. So last year, when Sony revealed God of War Ragnarok, that was the fastest selling first party title since at launch, and the companies didn't share numbers, but in first 24 hours, but in 7 days it sold 5.1 million copies. So with Spider-Man achieving almost half that amount on 1 day, it looks like Peter and Miles are going to smash Kratos, into last year, with Insomniac's first Spider-Man offering also breaking records back in 2018, where it earned 3.3 million copies in 3 days. So as of the 23rd of October, Spider-Man 2 is the 4th biggest physical release of the 2023 in the UK, and that's behind Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom, and EA Sports FC, and Hogwarts Legacy, but that is 3 days.
Now,
those other games have been there a lot longer.
Now, this obviously will be a game you have to pay for as well. So, compared to
because you're not getting it Game Pass like.
No, not like Starfield was, you know. Yeah. Although that had something like 10 million people playing it. Obviously, that's not 10 million copies bought. That's just 10 million people that are on Game Pass. So, but yeah, Sony have had a bit of a bum rap recently.
Yeah,
with a few bits and pieces, haven't they? So
they have, and to be honest, this has been the one that this has been my Starfield effectively, because I love the Spider-Man games. I've got them all, and this was the one I'd been waiting for. So coming on to that, or a link to that, I should say, Wolverine. So as we know, Insomniac, who produced Spider-Man, have also said that they confirmed that they're producing a Wolverine game.
That was some time ago they mentioned that, didn't they? I remember rightly.
They did indeed. Well, it's now been confirmed that Marvel's Wolverine game will take place in the same universe as the studio Spider-Man games. So during an interview with creative director Brian Intiar, I think is we pronounce his name, confirmed that they're all in the 1048 universe. So this refers to Earth 1048, the official Marvel designation for the universe's Insomniac Spider games, and also it's been the source of a few spin-off comics. They all take place inside that universe. So it's like, obviously the universe that we watch Marvel in is a different one, whatever it is. So Wolverine's going to be the same one. So who knows? We might even see, a Wolverine bit of DLC drop for Spider-Man 2 or something like that, which will be really interesting.
Who knows?
Yeah. The other bit of news is about Destiny 2.
Enlighten me on this one.
So one of the many baffling things, and I certainly feel the pain in this, in Destiny has always been shaders. Because,
in what way?
Well, in the way that you put the shader on and it never seems to make any resemblance to what it's actually showing as the shader because of how it works.
Because there has a 4 set cross in it.
Yeah.
Different colours in it. So the prominent one might be the one at 12 o'clock. Maybe the 3 o'clock might not, is like, if you went clockwise, 12, 3, 6, and 9.
Yeah.
They're the 4 different colours, aren't they?
Well, with inconsistent icons that basically make no sense in terms of Destiny, it's always been there. But now the game's director, Joe Blackburn, has recently announced that the icons for the shaders in the next Destiny 2, called The Final Shape, have been redone. And Joe was quoted as saying, all of the colours are represented in new icons and they're organised a bit differently. I think you'll have to know how armour works or really look at it and go, I get it. But the more prominent areas picked up the more prominent parts of the shader, and all the little hidden colours are represented on the shader icon. So we'll have to wait and see what that actually looks like. But that will be better if they've improved the way that all of that works.
Yeah, because I'm just...
I just stopped using shaders because I just...
Oh, no, I don't. I mean, there's some lovely ones. There's some lovely ones out there that really work well with weapons. But yeah, so I think the way it works at the minute, so the 12 o'clock shader, because it's cut into 4 crisscross, is the prominent main colour. And then your 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock, and 3 o'clock colours are smaller around the weapon elsewhere. But it'd be interesting to see what it looks like when they do it. If it makes it easier for people to understand how they like to see their colours and their weapons, then they've done so many changes in the last couple of years. Even the time you haven't played it, there's other things they've done. We've got a lot of differences. They work quite well, so I'm always up for change anyway.
Well, to be honest, it's been so long since I've actually played. I don't even have it installed on my system anymore.
I'm looking at my flying saucer on the screen. The minute I have, in another, this shader actually moves around. It doesn't. It's not prominently set. It moves like it's alive, and it really works well with my flying saucer. So I'm quite happy. So it's me. It's little things, little wines.
Anyway,
we'll get on to Destiny later because I want to mention about that anyway. Thanks.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go on to new releases. So new releases for the 30th to the 31st of October. Well, actually a bit earlier, the 27th actually, is Murder is a Game Over on PlayStation, Xbox, and Switch. We've then got on a PS5 on the 31st, The Forest Cathedral. We've also got Headbangers Rhythm Royale. That one is on PC, PS5, Xbox, and Switch. And then we've got Little Goody Two Shoes, which is on PC, PS5, Xbox, and Switch. And You Will Die Here Tonight on PC. 1st of November, we've got The Bed Well Made on PC and PS5. And then from the 2nd, we've got Achilles Legends Untold on the PS5 as an Xbox. We've got The King 2 on PC. We've got Gangs of Sherwood on PC, PS5, Xbox. We've got My Time at Sandrock on PS5, Xbox, Switch. Phantom Galaxies on the PC. Plate Up on the PS5, Xbox, and Switch. We've got Power Wash Simulator VR on the Quest 2 and Quest 3. We've got RoboCop Rogue City on PC, PS5, and Xbox. Now, that was a good demo. I'm actually really seriously considering buying this game because I really enjoyed playing the demo of it. And it looks, it's very, it's very much in the universe of the first RoboCop as well. We've got Slime 3 on a PC. Star Ocean, The Second City R on PC, PS5, PS4, and Switch. We've got the Talos Principle 2, so that's good because I completed that one on the PC, PS5, and Xbox. We've got Thirsty Suitors on the PC, PS5, Xbox, and Switch. Bratz, Flaunt Your Fashion Complete Edition on the Switch on the 3rd of November. DreamWorks All-Star Kart Racing on PC, PS5, Xbox, and Switch. We've got Fashion Dreamer on the Switch, Quantum Error on the PC, PS5, and Xbox. WarioWare Move It on the Switch. Football Manager 2024 on the PC. And also on consoles as well from the 6th of November. The Invincible on PC, PS5, and Xbox. Spellforce Conquest of Io on PS5 and Xbox on the 7th. We've got Titan Reporter Cigars of the Pharaoh on PC, PS5, Xbox, PS4 on the 7th. Beyond Sunset on the PC on the 8th. Cruiseneer on the PC on the 9th. DBO Battles on the PC on the 9th. Like a Dragon Gaiden, The Man Who Erased His Name on PC, PlayStation, and Xbox. We've got Tales of Arise Beyond Dawn DLC on PC, PS5, Xbox, PS4, and Xbox One on the 9th. Wild Shade Unicorn Champions, again, all formats. Air Twister, which is on PC, PS5, Switch, etc., all formats. And then Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 on the 10th, which is on PC, PS5, Xbox, PS4, and Xbox One.
Game Pass.
And Game Pass.
No, it's not actually, but...
No. No, and it's got the exclusives still on PlayStation as well, hasn't it? And then we've also finally got The Day Before on the PC. Thank God for that. That was a long list of games, but we are at that season.
I would have coughed up my lung halfway through that. I'm telling you.
Yeah, I thought you would have done. But that was, that was quite a long list of games.
One game that's out already I haven't looked into it yet because I won't need to, but I will want to, is Alan Wake 2.
I was looking at that because I thought, oh, that'll be on Game Pass. And then I looked and thought, oh, it's not on Game Pass, which is a bit unusual. Yeah, I thought that was unusual. But I suppose it's, well, I don't know. Anyway, I'm just going to wait for that to drop in price a little bit. I'm not in a great rush for that, to be honest. I'm looking forward to playing it, but it's I've got so many to play at the moment.
Yeah, I've built up some credit now with Microsoft points and that. I've got 30 quid now stored at the moment again.
Nice. To
go towards a game. So when they're about £45-50, you're not paying a lot of money for a game, are you?
No.
When you're manually, I think I'm on a roll. You know, you said you when you were doing it, you lost your rhythm and broke. I think I'm 78 days non-stop at the moment without a break or something stupid, where I keep pushing it in each week. I do it religiously now, just to help pays towards the game, you know.
Well, I was doing that and it kept breaking, even though I know I'd done it.
Yeah, I think they've improved it though, because as I say, I'm onto like a 78-day cycle at the moment.
Yeah, I could never get above about 5 weeks, something like that, because I quite often I would do it, and then suddenly it'd start breaking my rhythm, even though I'd know I'd done it, and that day, because quite often I would do it like at 1 a.m, which is after it would register as another day.
Yeah, because what happens is it's okay to do the Xbox one, but when you go onto Bing and do the little challenges it asks you to do, and you click this and that, it's best to do it sometime early morning when you're up and about. I think it doesn't like it at that time of night.
No, it doesn't like it between 12 and 1, I've found, because it doesn't allow you to do anything. But after that, it does. And I think that may be where it's been, going wrong for me. But hey ho. Anyway, Game Pass. So coming in November, we have on the 2nd, we've got Play Up on console. We've got Thirsty Suitors on console and PC. On the 6th, we've got Football Manager 2024 on cloud, PC and console. We've got Dungeon 4 on the 9th of November on console, PC and cloud. We've got Like a Dragon Gaiden, the man who erased his name, on the 9th of November on console, PC and cloud. And then one for you, Steve, Persona 5 Tactica on the 17th.
There's 2 Personas coming out, isn't there?
Yeah, but this is the one that's coming out in the first half of this month, more or less. But that's coming cloud, PC and console as well. Game Pass. There is now obviously the Game Pass core games as well, because you're not really getting the free games anymore, are you? They've stopped doing that. So if you're into Game Pass and you've got just the core, then games you're going to have access to is going to be Among Us, Astroneer, Celeste, Dead Cells, Descenders, Dishonored 2, Doom Eternal, Fable Fantasy, Fallout 4, Fallout 76, Firewatch, Forza 4, Gang Beasts, Gears 5, Golf with Your Friends, Grounded, Halo 5 Guardians, Halo 2, Wars 2, Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice, Human Fall Flat, Inside Limbo, Ori and the Blind Forest, Ori and the Will o' the Wisps, Overcooked 2, Payday 2 Crime Wave Edition, Power Wash Simulator, Psychonauts 2, Slay the Spire, Spiritfarer Farewell Edition, Stardew Valley, State of Decay 2 Juggernaut Edition, Superliminal, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge, The Elder Scroll Online, Unpacking, and Vampire Survivors. Again, quite a long list.
EA have brought out 4 demos as well. So you've got 10-hour demos. You used to do this before.
Yeah.
So you've got UFC, you've got FC 24, which is now what EA FIFA used to be. Madden 24 and FIFA 23, all with 10-hour free trials.
Yeah.
So you can each get a feel for what the game is. I'm just seeing that one of my favourite games is leaving Game Pass shortly. You'll have to go back to playing it on the PlayStation, which is Persona 5 Royale. I can't remember if I actually paid for it on the Xbox, but that's leaving Game Pass shortly.
Yeah. Just remember, Steve, when you do that, wear a mask, because when you blow the dust off that PlayStation, there's going to be a lot there.
No, I do wipe it down. I have actually cleaned. I do a bit of dusting on a Sunday. I've given it a clean. I've downpowered it, booted it up, said hello. I've clicked on all the spam names that are trying to get you to do all sorts, delete them, and then I turn it off again.
Yeah.
But you see, there's Final Fantasy is not going to be happening anymore on that now, is it? And stuff like that, my favourite stuff. So,
well, yeah, well, no, you won't, because it'll be on the PlayStation 5.
Yeah, but not the 4 though. I don't know on the. I think. Well, I don't know when the cut-off's going to be really for the PlayStation Pro 4. I'll end up having to trade it in or use it as a doorstop at some point.
Which is a shame, because it's a great console. But
yeah, well, I've got a few games. I've got Spider-Man. I haven't even completed that, so I've got a few games I can always go and play on it if I feel the urge for it.
Yeah, didn't they do a backward thing for Miles Morales on PlayStation 4? I'm sure they did. So you could play that as well, which is more of the same, effectively.
Yeah.
But anyway, we'll talk about that later. PlayStation Plus. Obviously, we can't report on PlayStation Plus at the moment because we have to wait for longer to find out what the games are going to be, because the identity of the PS4 and 5 games for November, they tend to launch them on the first Tuesday of the month and announce the games the week before. But due to the way that the dates fall, this November basically means that PlayStation Essentials will launch on the 7th of November. So we've got a while to go. For Prime Gaming or Twitch, whatever you want to call it, November games with the Prime lineup features several titles. These include Centipede Recharged, Evans Remains, The Dungeon of Nahulabuk, The Amulet of Chaos, Autumn Was the Case, and Black Widow Recharged, and more. There's also your content for Destiny, Asphalt 9 Legends, Madden, what do you call it as well? Diablo. They do stuff on there as well. Prime Gaming members in the UK, US, Canada, and Germany can also play on Luna, which is free, Ride 4, Get Packed, Couch Chaos, Fortnite, Encodia, Trackmania, and Cube 10th anniversary. So quite a lot of games to play if you've got those services. Epic, available now until the 2nd of November, is Tandem, A Tale of Shadows, and The Evil Within 2. And then from the 2nd of November to the 9th, we have Fist Forged in Shadow Torch and Turnip Boy Commits Tax Evasion. Don't ask me. It's obviously an indie game.
Very indie.
Yeah. Anyway, what? Tell us what you've been playing, Steve, because I've just talked for loads there.
Yeah, no, let me try and bear with me a minute while I just take a sip.
And look at what they've done to Diet Coke. It's pink.
That's the Barbie version, isn't it?
No, it's the breast cancer awareness.
Okay.
One.
So, where are we? Okay, so Destiny 2. Okay, so we're in the middle of Season of the Witch at the minute, and the Festival of the Lost has started out again. Something I'm sure you remember.
I do.
Weapons this time we've got the Cosmic Grenade Launcher. We've got the Jurassic Green Pulse Rifle, and we've got the Macabre Sniper Rifle and the Horror Story Auto Rifle. These are all upgraded with different perks and newer perks from maybe some of the older compatriots from earlier in the different seasons. Also, this time you can use eerie weapon engrams as well, which they look like a gold one, but they're purple, and you can trade them and use those however you see fit. Yeah, just playing. I gave everything to one side and put Destiny on and started playing some of it to pick up some of the weapons and that. It is what it is. It's still a good game. Season of the Witch, we've got 30 days left in Season of the Witch, if anyone wants to carry on playing that. But there's one big note, and I don't know if I've mentioned it before, but when we get to the new season, which will be season 23, we are losing legendary shards as a currency on Destiny. So one needs to spend them before the next 30 days, because they will just disappear out of your vault without a buy or leave. So I've got about 4,000 or 5,000 left to spend, which won't take too much to do. But yeah, worth just going in there and using them up. However, you seem fit to use them. There's still a few things you can do with them anyway. But yeah, Destiny it is what it is. I mean, I think we're going to all look forward to next year with the new expansion. Some of us will be. And Haydn looks so miserable there, thinking, no, not for me.
Yeah. No, I think I'm pretty much done at the moment.
You are done with Destiny, but excuse me. It should be. It'll be okay. And yeah, we use that and we bounce between different things. I mean, we're going to have new Starfield content, aren't we, in next year as well? So
yeah,
we'll still be thrown between different types of games that are out there.
I think the thing that started to make it sour for me was when they started taking stuff off you that you'd paid for. That was, for me, that was the beginning of the end.
When they archived some of the planets, you mean?
Yeah. Yeah, they shouldn't have done that. That was wrong. That's you've paid good money for that content. You should have access to it. And I don't care about how big the game was getting or anything like that. That's their problem, not mine. But they took stuff off me, and I don't like that.
Yeah, well, they're trying not to do some that they've changed their mind, like the idea of sunsetting weapons. They stopped doing that, didn't they? Now, and they're still bringing back on some other weapons we've had of old in the loot pool, and when the new content comes out next year, there'll be something similar for that as well. And that is.
I wonder if they're ever going to bring back the icebreaker.
I need to tag Bungie in an email and say, please.
Yeah.
It'd be nice, because we've got like the Crota raids back again. I'd like to maybe see if I can get in, go into the Facebook page of Destiny and see if I can jump in that.
Yeah.
Just to relive some of the fun we had with it.
Maybe we should actually see if we can get an interview with Bungie, and then we can start off the question with an icebreaker.
Excuse me a minute.
See, it was so funny it made him cough.
I had to move my mic. Cyberpunk 2077. Well, at the moment, I'm going to say it now. I don't care. Depending on how we do our Christmas show and what we do, that's my game of the year at the moment. And with all the new content, including the updates we've had with version 2, it's the best looking game. It has life in an RPG where you walk around. There's so much life involved, so much things are going on to interact with. I think it's just fantastic. And the Phantom Liberty expansion, wow, that brought a tear to my eye at one point.
So let me get this straight then. You're saying this is going to be your game of the year above Starfield?
Yes, I am. I am at the moment. It is utterly fantastic. And honestly, it's been so much fun. I have been playing a new game save, and I think I've done, I did something similar to Bethesda. I did do a good 80 hours, 120 hours on that game anyway. God knows where I found the time for that. I'm doing something with Cyberpunk, but I just want to go back to it all the time. I've got one ending different to do in the Phantom Liberty, but I'm going to save that to rerun the expansion with the third character you can choose to use. I did the Corp character on my first run. I'm on the Street Kid character at the moment, and I did complete 4 of the 5 endings in Phantom Liberty, but one of them is actually the end of the game for me. I think it's very clever, because it is actually, I think, how the game should end, full stop. and it even brought tears to my eyes. It's a very sad ending. What happens to V? And then when the game finishes and the credits cut, it was like something from a Bond movie. You have their animations with the big song. It was exactly the same. The song was really good. I don't know who sang it. But yeah, really, really good. And I think all the voice characters involved in that should have a pat on the back for what they put in on that. It's really, really good. There are still things you can do in the game which can interrupt the original story and actually break it there from that point, that you can lose some of that storyline you were playing on. It's just so well done. I know a lot of people have said no, it was a broken game, obviously, which it was for a lot of people, and they've not gone back to it. It's utterly fantastic. I cannot give it enough praise.
I mean, I think we've had a lot of broken games in the past. Obviously, we know we have. I think there is something a little bit off when people don't go back to a game and give it another go when it's been patched, because there's been a lot of really good examples of that. For a start off, let one of the biggest games, Skyrim. Not being funny to Bethesda, I'm just saying this is a fact. On that game, you literally had upside down dragons flying backwards. That was a big report in terms of it. Lots of bugs, lots of errors. It was that charm that we used to have before we all got peed off with Bethesda releasing bug games. And look at how that game's come along. Look at No Man's Sky. Look at Batman, Arkham Asylum, Arkham Knight. Look at what do you call it? Assassin's Creed Unity. All games that now they've been fixed are great games.
I mean, I think Cyberpunk was more down to the hardware, which on some of the older hardware, it wouldn't run properly anyway. That was the naughty bit about it. Where I don't think, to be fair, I had much of an issue on my Xbox when I played it when it first came out. But oh my god, there's so much involved in that game, and even Idris Elba's character is superb. He played a great part in it. And some of the way the story arcs crisscross the way to do certain things, and especially with some of the endings.
Yeah, you see, I kind of feel like I don't know if you've ever had this, but there are certain game producers that make games that you love the idea of playing, but once you start playing them, you don't really get a lot from them, and you're not enjoying them. And CD Projekt Red is one of those for me, because I started playing The Witcher and my excitement for it very quickly waned to, be like, it felt like a bit of a slog, because it just didn't feel like it was working for me. And to be honest, I do think that Cyberpunk is the same, because I've got Cyberpunk, but I've reinstalled it. But every time I look at it, I thought, I can't be bothered.
It is a sort of game I can just stop walking around the world and just look at what I'm looking at and be amazed at how good it looks.
Yeah, it's a beautiful game. I'm not knocking them for that.
And more for PC as well, where you get even a better look than I will because of your hardware.
Yeah, it will sound like my PC is about to take off.
Yeah, well, it'll probably take off with the ships as well, but no, as for an RPG, they actually really nailed it. It may seem a bit, after everything that's happened though, but I mean, RPGs are, for a lot of us, are our bread and butter on the Xbox, on the PlayStation.
Yeah.
And this one really, really works well. I think I've said this before, they improved the perk system with the tree. Because now, once you've earned them perk points, you can swap them around as well. So if you've set your character a certain way, you can take them all back and add them somewhere else. It doesn't cost you anything, Where, you know, back in the day of Skyrim, that was set in stone, that perk tree, wasn't it? You couldn't move it around. With this game, you can just refund them and start building a different type of character that you want to play.
Yeah, and I think that's very much a more modern day sort of thing, is that swapping in terms of the skill trees, because before games did used to do that very much set in stone, whereas now it's a much more modern trend that they recognise that people don't want to do it. You know, things like you know, Diablo is a bit of a different sort of situation, because
that costs you coins to do that. If you want to reset your perks,
but you can only reset your perks for that class. Yeah, that's the thing. You've got to then start another class of character,
because you got the different 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think about 6 different sets of perks you can play with.
Yeah.
You can, like, I put mine all into the Netrunner at the moment. I mean, you can blow up cars now. You can actually shoot out. You can shoot while driving as well now, which is great fun. And you can actually, if you've got the right perk on, you can leap out of your car in slow motion, slow down, fire, shoot, and then run and get back in your car and stuff like this. It's just bonkers what you can do. And it's low. I think I'll have to research more different ways to use the perks, because you can do slow mo. Like, do you remember the old bullet time idea? You can do things like that as well when you've got the right perks on.
Yeah.
So there's all these different avenues and ways to enjoy the game to suit your play style that you want to do.
That's a game that they should bring back, is Max Payne.
Well, that was made by the Alan Wake dudes, wasn't it? That was made by them.
It was.
You know, but honestly, even if I know it's hard to sometimes put a game in the tray, isn't it? Well, figure of speech now, because it isn't like that so much now, is it? But actually go and think, I'm going to give this game a go, because I'm actually now, excuse me, I think you played, but if I remember rightly, and I did actually research this just briefly, a very, say, friend of mine that I've met, and a well-respected horror composer and director, it's his favorite game. And Dead Space, John Carpenter has said he'd love to make a movie version of it. Now I stuck it on I downloaded it this afternoon, because the one that you bought, I think,
was the remaster.
Is now on Game Pass.
Is it actually the remaster? Is it the original?
It's the newest game that's come out for Dead Space. So I started playing it on. Oh my word! How scary is it? It's so creepy.
Also on PlayStation at the moment, you can still, until next month, on the PlayStation Plus stuff, you can get the Callisto Protocol, which is the spin-off.
Right. So that version of that Dead Space is the newer one that came out. Whether that was a remake or not, I don't know. I can't remember.
Well, it will be, because the other one was out in the 2000s, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was Xbox 360.
And it plays like a dream.
I
played about 40 minutes of it just to get a feel. And I've died a few times with those creatures running out at you, but you've got to shoot their legs and stamp them in the head and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So atmospheric. I'm about to die now, actually.
It was a fantastic game. Fantastic game.
Yeah, and it's now free on Game Pass to play. So go and download it. It's, really good game. And especially this time of year, being the Halloween as we are, I want to play a spooky game.
Yeah, and that one is spooky.
God,
especially when stuff jumps out at you. And I tell you what, try playing it with Dolby Atmos on. Yeah,
well, I'll use my headphones, put my Atmos headphones on, and see how that rocks. But just in the daylight when I was playing it, was giving me the heebie-jeebies. Just those dark passages, especially when I turned off. I had to go and I needed to get a room open, but I had to use the lift. But you have 3 fuses, and you're going to use 2 of them, so you have to sacrifice one of them, which was the lights, obviously. And my God, that was creepy. And the music in it was making it just even worse. Very like an Alien score. But yeah, very well worth playing, and it looks gorgeous as well. It really does. You know, did you finish it? Did you finish it in the end?
Not the remake, but I did the original.
I mean, I
did. A couple of times the original.
I did. I think I still own the original. I think, funnily enough, but yeah, this version of Dead Space from EA, was it always EA or not? Or was it someone else?
It was EA, yeah.
It was, yeah. But yeah, it's on Game Pass now, so just go and download it and play it.
Yeah, because what I would hope that they do is they remake 2 and 3 as well, but when they get to 3, drop the loot boxes that they were doing in there.
Well, I think they've been told off about that in the past, so they probably would anyway, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
So, yeah. I have been playing a little bit of Forza, obviously. Let me talk about that in a minute. So, yeah. But, yeah, Cyberpunk was when I was off sick, and I was, at the time when I was awake, and I was just laying there.
That was your comfort?
Oh, it was, yeah.
Yeah.
And it made me cry as well at the end. Really sad ending on one of them. But it made you think that was the end of the game over. That's the end of the game, finished. That's how it would probably end, in a sad note. But yeah, I'd like to not say how it ends, but the reason why you get to that point. But I don't want to really spoil it. And there are quite a few people who actually already finished it. But I don't know if they actually realise that there's more endings than whichever one they finished, and how they, whether they said yay or nay to certain parts of the story and the conversation that can lead up to different things. You know, but yeah, really, really, really good. I can't praise it enough, that game. So,
good stuff.
I'm not gonna. You can rattle on now. What was that noise? Oh, sorry, it's my controller. It's vibrating because I've just been killed by one of those creatures. So, what have you been playing then? I know it's something you're going to talk about.
Yeah, so the first game I'm going to talk about is a game called Classic Sports Driving. And this is an indie game. It's actually a really cheap indie game. It's about £4.49. I was sent a review copy of it on Steam. And basically, it's very much, it's a sort of like, it's a very challenging sort of game because, you know, it's a racing game, but it's done as with a similar sort of challenge to like the original Pit Stop or Outrun and stuff like that. And it's that sort of like scrolling, but a lot more up to date. So it's more like Horizon Chase in terms of like its presentation, but it's more old school difficulty of like 80s sort of game. So there are 16 tracks on the main part of the game for single player, and then there is other stuff in there as well. What I found is when I started playing it, and I mean this is constructive criticism to the indie company, but the home screen is functional, but God, it doesn't look nice. You know, it's like basically Windows with text in it. So you can tell it's sort of like more of an indie developer sort of thing. But, you know, it could do with a bit more zhuzhing up of the home page, basically for the game, the title page. But this pretty much goes along with the ethos of the whole of the game about it being more functional rather than being attractive, because the graphics are not unattractive. They're just very functional in the way that they look. So you race through each track, and your aim is obviously to get either a 1, 2 or 3 star for each track. Now, rather than chasing and racing other vehicles that that are on your grid, so it says you're in position 1, 2, 3, 4, this does something different. What it does is it has a floating bar which has a number of stars on, and depending upon if you can't see it because you're ahead of it, then you won't see the 3-star one. But if you get slower and the pacing for beating the 3-star overtakes you because you've gone so much slower, you will see that 3-bar going ahead of you, and it'll get either further or closer to you depending upon how fast you're going. So I actually quite like that, rather than, because sometimes you can get a bit fixated on a car, whereas this made you concentrate more on your driving rather than, like not really thinking about how you're driving, but thinking about where can I go to get around that car. There are still other cars on the track that you've got to dodge, but it's a different mechanic chasing this bar because you approach it actually quite differently, or I found I was doing that. And then if you get even slower still, then the 2-bar one will overtake you, and then you'll be chasing that one, and then the 1-bar one. So that means you're not good if you finish after the 1-bar one, you're not going to get any star ratings for completing that track, basically. So it's a different way of doing it, and it's really quite interesting. This is a game that is really, really fast as well. It's not, it's not blocky or anything like that. It's not that sort of retro. It's more like the retro sort of animation, but with like much clearer graphics. You do drive along and you'll come across nitro boosts on the track. And I think this is probably where I've really got to be honest. I'm not really convinced that the nitro boost does much, because it gives the effect of you're going faster by putting these lines on the corner of the screen around you. But when I know that a car that that like, for example, the bar rating hasn't gone through the nitro boost because of the positioning of where it was and everything in terms of that going round, don't seem to be making any ground on it. So it just feels to me like that's the one bit of the game that was probably a bit lacking, which is a bit of a shame, because it gives you the feel of going faster, but you're not actually, the revs go up on the vehicle, you get the faster effect, but you don't actually see that, or I didn't feel like I was seeing that while I was racing. Do you know what I mean? I was all of the vehicles were moving along at the same pace as they were before I hit the nitro boost. There's also different weather conditions as well, not to the level of Forza, no, but I mean, to be honest, the British weather's not up to the level of realism that Forza has got in some parts of the game. I have played Forza, by the way, Forza Motorsport, just so that you're aware.
Yeah.
But there are also 2 other modes as well. So there's 2 modes for playing 2 skill levels. There's arcade and pro. But I found that arcade was really punishing, so I've not bothered onto pro. There's also a track generator for more challenges, and you can also go online and play against others and go into leaderboards as well. But like I said, it's an indie title and it's quite good fun, and it offers lots of variety for less than £5. It's £4.49. And if you want to see what it looks like, then I made it the game of the day for the 22nd of October, so just have a look at that. Next game I've done is a Game Pass game, and I originally had this on Epic, and that's Dead Cells. Have you played this?
I have. I know. I have heard. It's just like this is one of those games where you die a lot, if I remember rightly. Not my cup of tea.
It depends upon how good you are.
No, but you have to die in it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Well, you don't have to die, but yeah, you can die, and
it's Dark Souls. It's like a Dark Souls-esque game, isn't it?
More or less. Basically, this is a 2D roguelike Metroidvania.
This was ages ago it came out, wasn't it?
Yeah, but it's on Game Pass now.
Right.
But this was developed by Motion Twins. So you take the role of an amorphous creature called the Prisoner. And what you've got to do is fight your way through this infected and diseased island to slay the island's king. That's the story of it anyway. And going along the way, you'll get different weapons, treasures, and other tools through exploration of the areas, which are all procedurally generated levels. And every time that you die, the level's different. So the game doesn't feature permadeath in the traditional sense of it's game over and then the game stops. What happens is you'll die, and then you'll keep you'll keep like coins, but what you won't keep is some of the other items that you've got. So weapons, abilities, and also the in-game currency, which is called cells. So when you kill certain enemies, then once they're defeated, you'll collect a cell for them, which allows you to purchase permanent upgrades. So this is one of the things of when you're going through the level, you've got to be really careful, because where I fell out with it originally, because I wasn't really quite getting it, was I was getting like near the end of the level, you can go and visit someone to deposit all of your cells in, and then once you've deposited your cells, you can then buy permanent upgrades. However, what I was doing was not playing carefully and just trying to force my way through the levels by brute force, getting overrun, and then not doing very well on it. I just didn't get the fact I needed to be a bit more tactical in my gameplay originally. So I thought, I'm not that bothered about this. I don't know what people are seeing in. I went back and had a go on it on Game Pass and actually did a lot better than I'd done before. Yeah, you do die a lot in it. That's the whole point of the game, is that constant rebirth.
Because you want the cells to upgrade and permanent. So the more you die, the more cells you get.
No, you don't. Yeah. No, not you.
No?
When you die. Okay. No. It's like Dark Souls in the fact that you've got the bonfires in Dark Souls where you kill enemies, you get stuff, and then you take it to the bonfire and you pay the bonfire or whatever it is. I don't know. It's been years since I played Dark Souls.
Yeah.
But it's that sort of thing, but you have cells instead, which you get, but you have to complete the level in order to be able to cash the cells. So if you're not careful and you don't choose the right equipment and upgrade in the right way, you might not be able to get past that level. So if you like killed all but one of the creatures, and then you died because that last creature on that last level killed you, you'd restart back at the beginning with a fresh map and none of the cells that you actually recovered in your last playthrough, which is why you've got to be careful. But there are lots of different biomes for you to go through and stuff like that, and actually it's quite good fun. It's if you don't do it stupid, which is how I played it before, and just actually thought about how the game wants you to play, the game's makes more sense and you will get further in it, which is I just changed the way I was playing it. I was thinking, I'm not going to rush it, I'm just going to take it steady, I'm going to kill enemies from a distance if I can, that sort of stuff. I mean, you've already got the width of the screen anyway, but yeah, that's what I did. That's that one. And then finally, let's talk about Spider-Man 2. So I've played this for several hours now. I'm going down the strategy of I'm not rushing this because I want to savour it. It's a bit like fine wine. You want to sip it, you don't want to glug it down.
Same we did with some of the Tomb Raider games back in the day, wasn't it? Where you wanted to, you didn't want to rush it because when it's over, it's over. It's like you might have that rerun.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm doing with this one, because I know that lots of people have completed it, and it's like when you look at games like Ghost of Tsushima, when that came out, I had that completed in 3 days.
Yeah, I've got that to carry on playing.
And I was sort of like a little bit of, what do I do now? So I'm trying to make this last, like I'm trying to make Assassin's Creed Mirage last. So restricting myself onto like a couple of hours every couple of days sort of thing on it. And then swapping around. But anyway, the game looks absolutely amazing. When you first look at it, you would think that the game visuals are more or less the same as the last Spider-Man game, but they have been improved, and now every mode has ray tracing on by default, so it looks superb. There are new skill trees from the old one, and those skill trees, there are 3 basically. There's one for Peter, one for Miles, and then one for them both for their combined sort of actions and stuff like that. The story so far seems to be really good. Like I said, I've been more savouring it, so I'm not hours and hours and hours into the story as of yet, because I've been exploring the world, trying stuff out. There are things that you can improve or make more difficult in terms of the way that the game plays. So, for example, the one thing I can't understand is they've put quick time events in. I kind of thought that quick time events were a thing that was going out of fashion these days, but they've put it in, and now they've actually done one with the adaptive triggers, because when you're playing, you find these areas where Sandman's presence was still left, and there's this crystal, and what it does is it starts off new, a round of fights with these like Sandman copies, as it were, and then once you've killed all of them, you break the crystal, and in order to do that, you've got to line up your controller with your adaptive triggers and then push past that point where it's naturally stopping you to do it. I don't like that, because I think that's one of the ways that those adaptive triggers eventually stop working. So you can actually switch that off, but what that in turn does is it also impacts your quick time events. But I'm not bothered about pressing Y at the right second. You know what I mean? It's just that sort of stuff. It's a pain in the backside. It's not, and it's nobody buys a game because they say, "Oh, this game's full of quick time events." Well, actually, maybe if you've bought Heavy Rain or something like that, you probably do. But
Uncharted had a fair few. The latter Tomb Raider games, that worked well. How that played, that was. I think they got it right.
Yeah, but you've still got the same thing with Spider-Man from the first game. The car's rushing away. You've got to jump on it. You've got to net the people inside it. You've got to stop it. So stuff like that, it just makes it just hold down the button and then it does it automatically, which for me is better because I just got sick of doing that. Just makes it a bit quicker. So yeah, but loads of side missions that are there. Lots of costumes and colour variations as well.
Was there a little bit of a tarte about the costumes? Apparently, I read somewhere that people weren't happy with them.
No, it wasn't that there weren't. Well, some people might not have been happy with some of the Spider-Man outfits, but what did happen was there was an error on the system when you got something like 27 hours into it or something or other like that. That what happened was on the menu, it stopped this, on the character screen, it stopped showing you the outfits for most of the outfits and showed a rotating cube instead. And then if you selected that outfit, that's what you became on screen.
Right.
That has since been patched. So that's gone. But it's quite nice having all the different coloured varieties of the suits, so that maybe you like one suit, but maybe just in the all black version, or the black and yellow, or the black and red. Do you know what I mean? There's lots of choice in that sort of thing. The new glide ability as well. So Spider-Man has like a glide suit adaptation to his suit now. So what that means is that you can actually traverse areas faster. So you get a good swing, go right up into the air, use your gliding suit just by pressing Y, and then you can glide along the city. And then there are like air currents in the city as well, so you can, if you stay within that channel, then you can traverse twice as fast across the city to swinging at the fastest you can go, which is really nice. It's actually quite good fun doing that. You get introduced all of these right at the beginning of the game with your fight against Sandman. What an opening that game is to the game. It's absolutely fantastic. I would strongly urge, if you've got any interest in Spider-Man, just go and have a look at the gameplay.
I have seen some comparisons, and I saw some of whether it was some of the cutscenes for Sandman.
Yeah,
they look pretty good.
I think one of the things for me about this game is the speed of it, and this is something that Digital Foundry's commented on and stuff like that as well. The draw distance is quite amazing in terms of like the level of detail. All of the little individual rooms in the buildings are all ray traced as well. It's not, they're the same as the rest of the environment. But how quickly you can go from one side of New York to the other so smoothly. It's not like it's like a juddery mess. It's a really smooth thing. So the fight with Sandman, he knocks you clean across Queens and out into the Hudson River. Is it the Hudson River around New York? Knocks you right across there, and you can you get back in a few seconds using glide and stuff like that. And that happens a few times. Also, when you're swapping between characters, and you sort of like jump up and then you go to the other place where the other character is, and that just how quickly that traverses across New York, which might be over the water as well. It's just amazing how it works, because it is so smooth. I mean, you would have played Ratchet and Clank, the latest one, a Rift Apart, but it's that sort of smoothness, but without that like second where you don't control anything. It's sort of like pauses while it's loading, sort of thing. I did get a couple of bits of popping, but that was only the first time I played too. I didn't notice anything after that. But other than that, the fighting is very, very much like the previous game, although there are more moves and stuff like that to do, things to unlock.
Yeah.
And it's just that, Batman Arkham series sort of smoothness in terms of that, light hit, heavy hit, parry, and then all of his special abilities and stuff like that. So it's a really good game. I'm totally enjoying it where I am. Whether or not I change my mind when I'm further down in the story, we'll have to wait and see. But I've been that busy, to be honest. I haven't really been able to just sit down and only play that. So because I've been doing loads of YouTube videos and stuff like that as well.
Cool.
So yeah, so that's it. So shall we move on to movies, TV, and streaming?
In quest of a better life.
All right, so movies, TV, and streaming, and we've got some really somber news actually. Starting off, this we found out about I found out about this first thing this morning when I got up. My wife said to me, "Have you heard?" And I said, "Heard what?" And the Emmy-nominated actor, who was famous for his beloved character of Chandler Bing in the 90s sitcom Friends, Matthew Perry, was found dead in his Los Angeles home on Saturday afternoon. He's previously spoken quite openly about all of the troubles that he's had with alcohol and drug addiction issues throughout the years of the show, and also citing that he hopes he can help others with a lot of honesty. According to emergency services, they were called to an address for a cardiac arrest, but when they arrived, discovered Perry in his hot tub, having reportedly drowned. And apparently there were no drugs at the scene, and it did not appear as though there's been any foul play. But from what I can gather, there was prescription drugs. Yeah. They reckon it's going to be a long time before we actually know how he died. But maybe he had a heart attack and then, because it was reported cardiac arrest. He's done a lot of drug abuse in his time. He might have had a heart attack and then drowned that way.
It's very much
awful way to go.
Excuse me. It's very much open knowledge and his demons that he's been having to fight with. Yeah,
it is. It's such a shame, because he was always my favourite character, like many others. He was the favourite character on Friends and stuff like that. And I always think, I had quite a similar sense of humour in a lot of respects, although my jokes aren't as funny as his were on the show. But,
I mean, I didn't. I've watched Friends on and off over the years. I wouldn't say I'd watch it weekly, but yeah, I mean, it was that he came into that was what made him, really, wasn't it?
It was, and then he went on to do things like the whole 9 yards and stuff like that as well.
Yeah. But when you see someone pass away that's younger than yourself by a few years,
or older.
Yeah, okay. But you know what I mean? But that sort of age,
yeah, but it was only 2 years older than me. He was 54, wasn't he? That's frightening.
No, it is. Yeah.
But what I mean.
Excuse me.
I mean, what can you say? It's a shock.
Yeah.
And there's been evidently lots of tributes to him and stuff like that. The one thing I always found really peculiar, when he released that book where he talked about his all of his demons and that sort of stuff. I haven't read it, but evidently he absolutely went to town on Keanu Reeves in it. Evidently, he
Can't do
did
that.
not.
That man is
The nicest man in
he does
Hollywood is
he
recognised as
does so
being.
he does so much for people. He is such a genuine person.
Yeah, but evidently he did not get on with Matthew Perry.
Well, then a lot of people don't get on with people depending on what their personality is like.
No, but to the point of like he leaves a chapter of it just to his hatred of Keanu Reeves. Evidently,
I think I've ripped that bit out personally.
Yeah, I can't see why he would have put that in, but if that's that was the one thing that stopped me from actually buying it to read, because I thought I don't want to hear about him just complaining about the fact that he doesn't like this actor, sort of stuff. But I just thought that was a really weird sort of thing.
A lot of cast members in movies they all don't get on sometimes. They do a job they're paid to do.
Well, I can't even think of anything that they've been in together.
I don't think they probably have. They've probably crossed a path somewhere, and something's been said, and
or one was going out with somebody that the other one wanted to go out with. Yeah. But
regardless of that, it's a shame. I mean, anyone that passes away, it's not very nice,
Yeah, and it was, he'd brought pleasure to millions in terms of what he'd done. So really sorry to hear about him passing. Anyway, on to a more positive note. There could be only one Highlander reboot, and the long stagnant Highlander reboot starring Henry Cavill is officially moving forward with John Wick director Chad Stahelski at the helm. Evidently, he's obviously directed all of the 4 John Wick movies, but he's also been attached to the upcoming Ghost of Tsushima movie adaptation as well. And the screenplay draft has already been created for the Highlander reboot, which has been written by Michael Finch, who works alongside the director on John Wick 4 as well. So the reboot is it's based on the 1986 original that stars Christopher Lambert, Sean Connery and Clancy Brown, and as 3 immortal warriors competing against each other through time in an effort to grow even more powerful, with Deadline reporting that the film should be starting to be filming as early as sort of like January, February 2024.
I know you're not much of a huge fan as I am, I don't think, because you think it's probably still outdated, but I love Highlander. And,
I think that there are aspects of the original movie that are outdated, because if you listen to that soundtrack and that, it's a very much an 80s sort of, not with Queen's music. I mean, with like the sound effects and stuff like that, it does feel dated when you listen to it. I love the story of Highlander and stuff like that. But
I mean, I would disagree anyway, because this is one of those films that I would say there's no wrong to it, if you're with me, but that's just me. But if they do, and that's fine. I mean, you can get this shot in 2024. We've been told by Barbara Broccoli that they're not going to announce the next Bond, not for a long time yet, because they still haven't got to the point of even thinking of the story, which gives them plenty of time to get this done before he gets announced that he's the new Bond, which I'm still hoping is going to be.
I think, to be honest, let's just retire Bond. I think they've killed him. Let's move on. Let's have a different character. James Bond's dead.
No, that's that it's different universe, isn't it? So, but anyway, but Henry Cavill to do that. I mean, he's obviously lost his cape. That happened for whatever reason. We never really heard the full story of that. But yeah, I mean, he's another nice guy. I mean, I've been watching the Mission Impossible movies a lot recently as well, and he's you listen to him on that talk show on Friday nights with Graham Norton, and you come back to some of those ones where you got Tom Cruise or Henry Cavill. And so he's such a nice British guy, isn't he?
Absolutely.
And I think if he can put a good accent on to be Scottish, I'm sure he can, because that's what he'll have to do.
Well, Christopher Lambert did, didn't he?
Yeah, because he's French.
My Barney Heather.
Yeah. Excuse me. But yeah, that'd be interesting to see how that pans out. It's not one that I would say I wouldn't want to miss because it's being remade, because I still think there's a lot of films that shouldn't be remade.
Back to the Future.
Yeah, exactly.
Star Wars.
They're remaking. Do you know? Have you heard about that?
No, the original Star Wars. They shouldn't remake those.
They're thinking of remaking the original Star Wars. Have you heard this?
There's been talks about it, but
absolutely not. Codswallop.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. What are you playing at? You know, it's a lot. There's certain movies that you don't touch, like The Exorcist, Godfather. You know, a lot of these 70s movies, you don't go back to them. You don't remake
2001, The Matrix. Those are ones you shouldn't mess with. Flash Gordon.
Yeah.
The Sam Neill, not Sam Neill, the Sam Jones Flash Gordon.
I mean, they've tried to remake The Omen. Basically, that was the same script, like near enough line by line. It was dreadful.
I didn't see the point in that. I just did not see the point in remaking the exact same movie, virtually shot by shot with the same script, just to.
How freaking lazy is that? How freaking lazy is that?
Well, that's that's a director copying someone else's own work.
It's plagiarism to a certain degree, isn't it? When you think about it. But even this new Exorcist Believer that's come out, I mean, it's, again, they're going to be. This is what the guy did to Halloween. He's doing to The Exorcist now, and there's only one original, and the second was absolute diabolical, but the third was a good book which they did bring to the screen.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, we'll see. I mean, I'm not going to say, I'll be keen to see what Henry Cavill can bring to it, because we know he's done what he's done with his other stuff in the era with The Witcher. It's not far from it, is it really? He'd have the same haircut, wouldn't he?
Yeah, he just won't have the contact lenses.
No, he won't have attached. He won't have attached, depending on how he looks in, the way they're playing out the times, where they jump in between different eras. If they're going to keep it for the same sort of, times they're jumping through, whether it's the World War or instead of the 80s, it'd be the 2000s probably, So yeah.
Yeah, I must admit, I wish that they would do like an Assassin's Creed movie, but
the one they did was awful, wasn't it?
It wasn't awful, but it just wasn't good.
Yeah.
I think if they'd have done Fassbender just in the past and not in the past and the future sort of thing, that would have been better.
I will say one thing though about The Exorcist, though, they can make a damn good steelbook. Have a look at that.
Very nice.
This is 5 discs in there in a box set. It's this one here for the 100th anniversary. This only arrived a little while ago from Zavi, and yeah, very well put
So you ordered it in the 1960s for it to arrive, apparently.
I did, yeah. I have. Funny to say that, because I'm a big fan of the 70s movies, and there's a good cluster of movies from the early 70s to the mid 70s that don't get really appreciated.
Well, look at Spielberg's original movie.
That's just coming out now, isn't it, on in 4K?
Yeah, actually,
I watched it the other night. Funny enough, because I do have a digital copy of it.
Well, I watched. Have you ever heard of? I've mentioned it before. Retro Recipes.
Don't think so. I can't remember.
It's a YouTube channel. So their host's a guy called Perry Fractic. He's actually been in Star Wars and stuff like that, and his wife has as well. And she's like Lady Fractic, and he's actually just done a series of ones because he lives in California. He's British, but he lives in California, and he's bought a replica kit car, as in Knight Rider. But what he's actually done is one of his latest videos is he went to find if there was anything left of the truck that Spielberg drove over the edge of that cliff in California, because obviously that's where he lives. And he's gone and, gone with his mate to explore the area and stuff like that. And I was watching it, and it was really interesting for the stuff that he was doing.
Warner Brothers wanted them to let the truck explode when it hit the ground, when it went off the cliff.
Yes.
And Spielberg said, he said, no, you're not having that, because the idea
he wants a creature to die.
Yeah, and the way it died, with the wheel just moving and the fan still clickering in the actual cab of the truck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also, did you know that the reason why, when it goes over the edge, the driver's door is open in the last shot, is because the cable that they were pulling broke, so the stunt driver had to jump out at the last second, which is why the door was open as it went over.
I'll have to really look at it. I've got it on my PC on my Plex. I'll have to have a look.
Yeah, you watch it is. I'll tell you.
But it's just coming out. It's just coming out with a nice anniversary release.
Yeah, I'm going to buy that because I absolutely love that movie. As a matter of fact, I think it is possibly my third favorite Spielberg film,
because that was his
right high up there.
Remember, that was a TV film. Was it a TV film? Remember,
it wasn't, and he extended it to go to the cinema.
Yeah, and then he did Sugarland Express after that. But there's a documentary on Sky called Spielberg. I don't know if you've seen it. Really good documentary. And there's a lot of old footage when he was at ULC with all these other friends of his, like Lucas and everybody else, seeing some old party stuff in black and white and all this. It's a really good documentary on Sky Documentaries called Spielberg. There's quite a few now. There's a great number of movie director ones on there. But his one there spans his whole career from the big, very early on. Worth a watch. Anyhow.
Yeah, let's move on to cinema releases. So, 3rd of November, we've got Bottoms. We've got The Royal Hotel, How to Have Sex, and Dance First. And then on the 10th of November, we have The Marvels. We have Anatomy of a Fall, Dream Scenario, Gurkha Warrior, and Death on the Border. So I will be going to see The Marvels, but I am not expecting it to be good. I'm expecting it to be quite dire, actually. Because I actually, even though I had managed to get my way through She-Hulk, and that last episode was really tortuous, because they completely undermined the rest of the series. I was quite enjoying the series up until that last episode. It was a bit different, and stuff like that. Yeah, okay, it had ropey CGI, but it was a TV show. They don't have the budget of a movie, or they didn't put the budget of the movie in that show. But when it came to Ms. Marvel, I couldn't get past episode 1. I just got halfway through it, and me and Master were just like looked at each other and said, "Oh, let's forget this." So anyway, Blu-ray DVD releases 30th of October. We've got Dune Steelbook, Blue Beetle. We've got Megan and Batman: The Long Halloween. In November, on the 6th of November, we've got Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1 and the Steelbook version. We've got Alfred Hitchcock's Classics 3, Trading Places, which is a great movie, Scrooge, which is another great movie, Violent Night, American Graffiti, which is obviously
another great movie.
Another great movie, and wasn't it Lucas's directorial debut?
Yeah, you got Richard Dreyfuss in there, looking very young. You got Harrison Ford in it as well.
Harrison Ford, yes, all of that. And then the last one is One False Move,
and You're Dead.
Charts.
Yes, go for it.
Oh, no, go on if you want to.
No, I'm just going to say about American Graffiti. I mean, that was a coming of age film in one way.
It was, yeah.
Always set in the time of sort of very happy days, shall we say? And even the guy that played Richie Cunningham, his name's just gone past me for a moment. who does his direction. He's in it as well, isn't he? And
Ron Howard.
Marvelous movie, absolutely marvelous movie. Well, well worth having a look at that if you can find it somewhere before purchasing, if you want to. I think it's brilliant.
And do you remember seeing his brother on screen?
Which, go on, what?
Ron Howard's brother.
Okay, go on.
Do you know who he is?
Go on, tell me.
Right. Do you remember? No, it's not a joke. Do you remember the episode where, not Where No Man's Gone Before, the Corbomite maneuver of the original series Star Trek, where the Enterprise,
yeah. I know very well. Yeah.
He was a little kid.
Oh, it's him, was it? Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's his brother in real life. So, yeah. There you go. But you didn't know that. So, charts. Movie charts. Number 5, we have Paw Patrol, the mighty movie. At number 4, Leo. At number 3, Taylor Swift, the Eras Tour concert. At number 2, we have Killers of the Flower Moon. And at number 1, we have Troll Bands Together.
And number one because it was the week the kids were off.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I think Killers of the Flower Moon would probably top that.
Well, actually, you say that, but kids in North Yorkshire are off next week.
Are they?
Yeah, from tomorrow. Yeah. So say it's some parts of the country were not off last week.
I would like to see Killer of the Flower Moon. It's over 3.5 hours long, that film. From Martin Scorsese. Maybe it's one to watch in whether or not you can sit through a 3.5 hour movie in a cinema.
Maybe it's one to watch with a catheter attached.
Yeah, if you're that age, that's quite handy. Everyone else is busting out and you're sitting there going,
yeah.
But yeah, no.
Okay. So in terms of the official Blu-ray chart, we've got at number 5, Memento. Okay, that's a re-entry. At number 4, we've got Insidious: The Red Door. At number 3, down from number 2, we've got Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. At number 2, down from 1 last week, we have Transformers: Rise of the Beasts. And at number 1, we have The Meg 2: The Trench.
Well, it's not as good as the original, but I'd like to see it still.
Yeah. Anyway, Steve, let's talk about what we've been watching. So you've been watching The Saw.
So Saw. We'll start with Saw 10. And
is it 10 or X?
It is the 10th.
I know it is, but
excuse me.
Some people are saying Saw 10, some people are saying Saw X, aren't they?
Yeah, well, whatever, it doesn't really make much odds really. But mind you, because this film was actually Saw 1.1 probably, because what we have with this movie is it's set between the first one and the second one. And John Kramer, who's been diagnosed with brain tumor cancer, which we all know about from later on in episode 3.
Thanks for spoiling, Steve.
These are a long time ago, these movies, a long time ago. But anyway, the only reason I say it because you get this from the trailer that John Kramer's gone to a self-help group who they've all got cancer, and they're all in a pretty poor way. They're quite stage 4, so it's quite set on. And John bumps back into a member of that group who looks as fit as a fiddle, and he explains to John that I got contacted this person who was able to give me this new revolutionary treatment, and I'm cured. So he gives John the email address to contact them, and he has a chat with this woman on the phone, and he flies out to Mexico for the treatment. And he's met a few people there. He's gone to have the treatment. He's back at this hotel close to the hospital in case he's needed. And you said you've got a new life ahead of you now, John. You're going forward. and John goes to pick up some tequila as a present, and he gets a cab back to where the operation happened and where all the people were that were involved in giving him his treatment, and it's abandoned. And he goes into the place where it happened, and it's all hardly anything else there. And basically, he takes off his stuff wrapped around his head and that, and he's not had any treatment. It's a complete scam. You don't mess around with someone like Jigsaw by giving him a scam, do you? No. So basically, the rest of the movie is that he gets all the people that were involved in it, and you can guess what happens to those people. But I won't spoil the ending of the movie because there's a nice little twist at the end. But it really worked well. My missus did turn away occasionally a couple of the traps. The first one, which is on the poster, which is a bit earlier on in the movie, is quite ingenious. But yeah, very well put together. And even though we're looking at about the 11th movie or something like that now, we've had the Jigsaw movie and we had the Spiral movie, Book of Saw as well. It's brilliantly done. I loved it, really, and it was nice to see another character in tow, because as it's set between 1 and 2, Amanda, who had the bear trap, if you remember that, at one point in one of the movies, she had the bear trap over her face and she was able to get out of it, and she became a disciple of John's, of Jigsaw. So she's in there helping him gather up these people that he's tracking down that scammed him over his cancer treatment.
Yeah, you see, I have not watched the Saw movies. I've only watched one, and that was not in full. And I knew that one of the characters, like the Saw guy, he had cancer, because I think he died in it or something.
He does. Well, he dies in about, I think it's end of episode 3, possibly. They all do for me now. They do actually a little bit blend into each other after the same movie.
Yeah, because and he had a disciple, and it was a young woman. I remember. That's what I remember. But
I can do this quite easily because I've got them to hand. So the Saw 3 is there. As you can see, his head's in there. In there. This is after the autopsy. So I think it might have been Saw 3, which is one here, where he got to the end. But they're so clever, and I wouldn't want to spoil, even if you've not only seen one and you thought, well, I don't mind actually going through all those movies. When you go to Saw 3D, I'm going to call it Saw 3D. Can't even find it now if it's here, which one it was. The story actually comes full circle and you find out more about all the other movies. It's very cleverly put together, because there is a backstory to the whole film. There's an common arc going through the films. But yeah, they're really good. I mean, my missus enjoyed watching them all. We saw a fair few of them at the cinema. Excuse me. And I'd always thoroughly recommend it. I'd love to have them in another print, because they are coming out in 4K now. But the first one was very much set in one room. Did you get to finish the film then?
No.
Well, I won't see what happened. I wouldn't want to say what happened at the end.
Yeah, I think there was a bit where, because there was a nurse who was told that she had to help the guy, and his disciple was trying to make her, sort of thing.
There's a nurse in about the third one.
Yeah, that's what I've seen. That's what I've seen. And I only saw it because it was on TV, and I was flicking through the channels, and I got to it and thought, what the hell's that? And then I realised what it was.
So is that when they had the husband trapped in a box? Because she was a nurse and the husband.
I don't. I remember there was a woman that was tied up. I think she was naked and she frozen.
Yeah. They put the water spray over her, which was freezing her.
Yeah.
If I remember rightly.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I think that was number 2 or 3.
Yeah.
But the first one's set in one room, in the cell, where they're both chained. Two guys are chained up with the hacksaws.
Yeah, and they have
laying
to
beside
cut
them.
the leg off or something, don't they?
Well, yeah, but that's clever. But it's all relevant to knowing what happens at the very end as well.
Mm.
You know, with the last Saw before Spiral. I think it was called. I saw it in 3D. I think it was at the time. Saw 3D. It was called. But yeah, really, really good movies. I do enjoy them. But yeah, I've got them all on Blu-ray. But I wouldn't mind upgrading as they do it occasionally. They did a set. I mean, it'd be expensive again to do a 4K box set with so many films. It'd be just too expensive.
Well, it'd probably be a couple £100.
Yeah. Well, if you buy them individually as they come out at £20 a pop or whatever, then you're probably better off doing it like that.
Yeah.
Well, even just seeing them on, I think they're all on Sky anyway, or wherever. You can watch them all on there.
Mm.
So yeah, very good film. I really enjoyed it.
I think I'll have to watch it because
they're all got a twist. They've all got such a twist in the way they work as well. Because there's more than one person in a film that's on a. When you think this one person in the whole movie is playing the game to go from the beginning to the end, but in the middle of that there are other people in the film also playing their own game as well, which you don't know about, or it comes to light. So it's really clever on that.
Here's something for you: the Spiral from the Book of Saw 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray, £7.19 on Amazon at the moment.
That's not bad. That one wasn't bad. That was Chris Rock in that one. Excuse me. So that was Chris Rock as a detective trying to solve some murders in the similar vein of that. That's why it's called Book of Saw.
Right.
But yeah, no, Jigsaw was a good one as well because there's a lot of backstory to and froing in a lot of the films. You do get that in some other movies, don't you? Where that's why Jigsaw is always in them.
Yeah.
But it's more likely to be in a backstory or from something they remember from the past, especially when his wife is involved as well and what happens to her.
Yeah.
Because obviously, if I tell you this isn't really a spoiler, but the reason John Kramer is the person he is because he tried to kill himself because of his own problems and he survived. So he went through that pain to come through the other side, hence what he does for people that have committed some atrocities to get them to face their demons to see if they can get through it. And if they do, they can live. Jigsaw's not the killer. He's never the killer in these movies. It's always the other people because it's them. They've got to do the button. They've got to push this and that for this trap to carry on. So, but it's damn clever how they work it out. It's brilliant. And some of the characters you get in there with some of the traps, the FBI agent is one, and there's a copper in the second one. I think the second one was where his boy was trapped in a house with some criminals, and there was a gas put into the house, and they had to find the stuff to cure them as well, and all this. Yeah, it's really good. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. I might get it. I might not. I don't know.
It's worth. I mean, if you pick them up on Sky or something, they're all on there. I've got them on my Sky box at the minute. They're all on there to watch because it's Halloween at the minute, so they're all on there to download anyway. Excuse me. So you can download them all now, the ones that are there, and you can just put the keep on them and watch them at your own leisure without having to lose them because they come off because they end up being on the store for £4 or something, don't they? And how it works. But I think my film of the year has to be Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning. From some of the dross that we've had with Indiana Jones.
Oh, that was all. Yeah.
It
wasn't awful. It was just not good.
Yeah, and we've had The Exorcist Believer as well, which is another bad movie. And some other sequels that just don't work. Where here we're getting a franchise that roller coasters, every film, and everyone is different. All right, you've got a lot of the same team in it, but they're so damn good. And this one here, which is only part 1, believe it or not, we got part 2 to come. And ironically, with the story, because you have seen this as well, haven't you?
I have.
The story having an AI intelligence that's wanted by every nation as a way of a killing machine for a world war or for espionage or whatever. It's very realistic. A thought of something like that can be around.
Well, it's very as of now, isn't it?
It is, because this film I talked about a little while ago, which with James Corden. Remember I mentioned about this? I said he's the voice of this. Yeah. But that was about an AI intelligence. Now this has been out. This has taken a couple of years to come to screen, but the other one hasn't. But a good story, a great introduction with a submarine scene. Did they have the chess pieces on there like they did in the Bond one? Was that just a bit of note I noticed there? Did you see that on the in the submarine?
I don't. And to be honest, it was a while ago. I think maybe I can't remember.
Yeah, there's a chess set on there, which is vibrating a bit. If you remember, what we had the chess set in one of the Bond. I think it might have been one of the Roger Moore ones. Might have been in the Spy Love Me. I can't remember now. Anyway. A good cast as usual, with Tom Cruise, Simon Pegg obviously, and Rebecca Ferguson, Bing Rhymes of Luther, and a new character called Grace, played by the British actress Hayley Atwell. I think she really did well in it.
Well, he's dating her, isn't he?
Oh, was he? Is that right?
Tom Cruise, yeah, that's my understanding. Yeah,
oh, okay.
They're an item.
Her character, without giving, I don't want to give away too much. Well, as much as that's the basic plot of the film, there's other stuff in there that I don't want to talk about, which we could talk about afterwards. But it was a roller coaster ride and a half. I mean, that I think that was nearly 3 hours as well. That film, It wasn't far off it. It was nice to see. The White Witch from Fallout as well back in it. Obviously, she was in The Crown, which it was one of the things she was doing. Rebecca Ferguson's gorgeous as ever, and she's really good. Lorne Bell for the score as well, works every time. Actually, that arrived before I saw the film, believe it or not. I'd ordered that on Mondo donkeys ago, and that arrived about 2 days before I saw the movie, so I didn't actually play it. And we look forward to part 2. Hopefully sometime next year. I think it's going to be about June next year. I think that's when it's coming out.
Here's a question for you. Do you think Ethan Hunt will come out of this one alive?
Depends how many more he wants to make.
Because I think at the end of the day, he is sort of like, in the next few years, he's going to have to start slowing down some of these. Because he's 59.
Same age as me, yeah.
Yeah.
And here he was doing stunts and a half. Obviously, it's no spoiler from the trailer of that motorbike jump he did.
No.
Training for that was unreal. Some skydiving he did to as well to get the right place for doing it.
He's not going to be able to do that for much longer. I hate to say it because I don't want him to stop doing them, but he's going to have to slow it down.
I suppose at some point he will. I mean, we may feel he's invincible to a certain degree, but he's flesh and blood at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And
he has had breast cancer as well, hasn't he?
Don't know.
Yeah, I'm sure he had, because I remember I didn't know that men could have it, and I found out that Tom Cruise had it.
Yeah. No, excuse me. Yeah, no. I don't know. I mean, even Simon Pegg suddenly looks old, doesn't he?
Yeah, Simon Pegg's gotten old
all of a sudden
very quickly.
Yeah. I mean,
and he's the same age as me.
I saw him
I would say probably looks 5 years older than
yeah,
me.
I saw. I mean, even in the movie database, you can see a photograph of him there with Rachel. Oh, sorry, with Haley. But I saw a not TikTok, but a YouTube TikTok short video of Nick Frost signings at a Comic-Con. I think it might be. I'm not sure if it's the UK or not. And yeah, the camera panned and it had the background music to the music when they had him pulled when they were crossing the road to go into Comic-Con in that movie. And you see all the lines, and the lines go all the way back down. And then you see there's Simon Pegg also signing as well. And he just looks, he suddenly looks, maybe because he's got white hair now, and the way, he's a very slim character, isn't he?
Yeah, he looks a bit gaunt with it. Maybe if you put a bit of weight on, he'd look a bit younger.
I mean, some of the humour in that film works a treat. The early scenes in the airport, when you've got them being tracked and traced round the airport as they're trying to do what they're trying to do. Meanwhile, there's people chasing them as well. Absolutely superb. And I mean, they did in Fallout. We had the motorbike chase scene, didn't we?
We did.
And the cars in Rome. Was it in Rome? I think. And they got something similar here with a little tiny little vehicle they're using. Good bit of fun as well, that, but they're all real stunts. None of this CGI crap, is it?
No.
Really, it's just a really good, something you can sit and watch and just enjoy. You can take in as much as you want of the film. There is twists and turns in the plots, but you just sit there and enjoy it. And it just, Tom Cruise. Some people don't like him, and they dislike him for whatever reason. That's their prerogative, maybe. But
well, I mean, we all like and dislike different actors, different people. It's like I've always been a fan of Tom Cruise. Okay, he's got a bit of a weird religion and stuff like that, but I don't care.
It's what it is,
that's what he wants to do. As long as he's not harming anybody, I don't care.
No, yeah. And he's such, again, he's one of those sort of people. Excuse me. When he goes to the premieres and stuff like that, he's very much, will talk to the crowd, get involved.
Yeah.
I like it when he sometimes he will tour the world when the film's out, and he'll walk in on a cinema screening. Or sometimes he will actually probably be incognito as well to see how because he wants his film to be appreciated on the big screen, and he promotes the cinema as best as someone can do.
Well, let's face it, he's got millions and millions. It's not like he's really doing it for the money anymore, is it?
No, he likes the thrill of the ride, doesn't he? I mean, the man learned to fly a helicopter just for Fallout, for Christ's sake. He learned to fly planes. He's base jumped, bungee jumped. He's hung onto planes, which was, I think, was that Rogue Nation, if memory serves, I think, at the beginning.
Yeah, it was Rogue Nation. Yeah, he's an adrenaline junkie, basically.
Yeah. But it works well with the cinema and the stories they tell. And with the director, Chris McQuarrie, who's been involved in a fair bulk of them. I mean, Brian De Palma did the first Mission Impossible, believe it or not, which is still a favourite of mine, the original, especially that chase scene in the Channel Tunnel with the helicopter.
Yeah. It's a bit cheesy nowadays, but
you know what I mean, and the chewing gum with the two colours,
red light, green light,
right? Yeah, to explode the fish tank with the guy there from the FBI, who we don't see him for quite a while in a lot of the films. Kid Rich. Yeah. But that introduction to that film, I mean, they're like the Bond movies. You have an intro to something.
But of course, if you look at the previous movies, it was all, recently, it was, what do you call him? Who got arrested for killing somebody on set with a gun.
Excuse me. Yeah, he was in Fallout. The last one he did was Fallout, wasn't it?
Yeah, I forgot what his name is, and I can see his face. He was in.
It was. Yeah, that's right. He was. Yeah, that is.
Alec Baldwin. Alec Baldwin.
Yeah.
That is a guy who was gone from like being a really, really good looking guy to looking like a fat frumpy old bloke.
Yeah,
he's changed beyond all, because when you look at him in what was it, was it the Phantom? No, it wasn't the Phantom. That was someone else. But you know that like Mystic one that he did where it was a cartoon character in the 50s. I forgot what the name of that bloody movie is, and I quite like that movie. But you know, he was like a really good looking guy back then, or in the time of The Hunt for Red October. But yeah, you look at him from Notting Hill onwards, and you think, well, obviously you bought a pie shop and you ate the contents. Do you know what I mean? And it's like
we all have to do that, don't we?
Yeah, we all. I mean, I'm not. No criticism, you know. As you know, I come from Yorkshire. If somebody says you're fat, I go, yep, all bought and paid for.
Yeah.
But that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is he's like somebody who's like aged and changed so much from when he first came on the scene to now. It's almost unrecognizable.
It's interesting that with in Fallout, when we do see Ethan Hunt's wife again, who's been under the radar, because obviously that is one way that any villain could get to him was via his wife, as they did in Mission Impossible 3.
Was that actually the same actress?
In Fallout? His wife was in Fallout.
No, sorry, I was thinking it was but it wasn't. I was getting my movies mixed up there.
Yeah.
I was thinking of Fallout, but I was thinking it was the last one.
Yeah, well, Fallout was the last one.
Was it?
Yeah, it was.
No, I mean the one that we've just had.
Oh, Dead Reckoning.
Yeah, Dead Reckoning. Yeah.
No, she wasn't in that. His wife was in that one.
I was getting my movies mixed up there. That's what it was. It's too many bloody Mission Impossible movies. That's what
I've got them all. There's 7 of them, and well worth having in a collection for 4K. I can tell you that. Well, I won't have the Dead Reckoning for a while, but I'll get that eventually. But Henry Cavill, I mean, he did well in his one in Fallout. But it was really nice to see, because obviously the way the story progressed and what happened about a quarter of the way in, that we had this Grace character that was a thief. You loved her, but you couldn't trust her.
Yeah. And
it wasn't till near the end of the movie when I think she still would have probably not been one to trust, you know. But and I mean some of the stunts they did in that, and some of the even there was a bit of CGI with the train, because you've seen that in the trailer. Was it the Orient Express, wasn't it? I think
so, yeah. But that whole bit on the train, you know, I think that the writer must have been playing Uncharted.
yeah.
Because wasn't there also a bit where he was hanging out with an aeroplane as well?
Well, in Uncharted, the movie, wasn't it?
No, I know there was in the movie and the video game, but what I'm saying is in Mission Impossible. Or am I starting to think of the Living Daylights? Because that was definitely in that.
No, it was. You're thinking the plane, which is Living Daylights, when when he had the parachute. I think he did have a parachute on to come out of it. No,
Bond and whatever the girl was, because it was Timothy Dalton.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
They came out of the plane
Boyo,
the Welsh Bond boy. But he was the one that was the one where, as the plane was coming down to crash, and it was going very level to the ground, they reversed out with a Jeep which had a parachute on it.
That's it. Yeah. That was the Gibraltar bit, though. That was at the beginning of the film.
No, that was the end.
Was it?
But, yeah, that was.
Sure? No, because he can't. When it exploded,
no, the Gibraltar bit was there was another bit with a Jeep, but that wasn't in the plane, because it was just before they went to the American arms dealer.
I watched Living Daylights.
Yeah. It was. Yeah, trust me. I'm pretty sure I'm right on this, because the Gibraltar bit at the beginning, you didn't have the Russian cellist whereas she was in this
Oh
bit.
yeah, wasn't she lovely? Wasn't she lovely?
Yeah, do you know what? I remember watching because all of this about it's like this generation of women seem to think that they've invented women power. Yeah, forgetting about things like the Spice Girls and everything else that went on before. I remember watching one of these documentaries from like the 90s that was about James Bond, and it was talking about that, and it was about the Bond girls, and there was this conversation between her, Maud Adams, and Barbara Bach, it might have been, or one of the someone else, and she was saying, I was like the first Bond woman to really actually go out and do adventure. The one on the Living Daylights, and to do the action. And I was like, from my perspective, she was the most helpless Bond girl that there had ever been. I mean, out of all of them,
Miss Goodnight in Man with the Golden Gun.
Yeah,
I mean,
she was a secret agent, so yeah. But Pussy Galore.
See, Maud Adams played the villain in Man with the Golden Gun as well. Remember, she played it twice.
Yes, well, yeah, she was San Francisco Scaramanga's girlfriend, and then she was Octopussy.
That's right, yeah.
Because she's one of two actresses who's actually been on 2 Bond movies as a Bond girl before the Daniel Craig era.
Yeah.
Because the other one was the woman who was the main Bond girl on From Russia with Love, because she did appear in a scene of Dr. No as well. But
because Dr. No, she was Dr. No. I think she was at the poker table.
Yeah,
and then we see her at the beginning of Russia with Love when he's having a picnic. Is that right? Is that my memory right?
No, she's the main one who goes off.
No, not the Russian one.
Yes, the Russian one. That's her. But but Dr. No, if it had been made in North Yorkshire, it would have been Dr. Nout.
Yeah, of course.
But I remember watching this documentary, and she was saying about how powerful that she was and how empowering it was being a Bond girl.
You see, a lot of women in the 70s. There was women in the 70s that got good roles that were. I mean, even actually going back to Sugarland Express with what's her name? Oh my God, name just escaped me right now. The 2 characters in Sugarland Express that were sort of causing havoc. The guy in it was the newsreader in Die Hard. So it's quite a while ago when he did this, and it was Goldie Hawn was the woman, and that was a fantastic role there.
Yeah.
So women have had some really good.
And really strong characters. And I think that a lot of Bond women have always been quite strong characters. I mean, Pussy Galore for the 60s was an amazing sort of like strong character. She was like the the second in command henchman to Goldfinger.
Flip it to Dinah Rigg on Majesty's Secret Service. Who obviously Bond married.
She was even she had something about her because she rescued Bond several times in the movie,
and he rescued her.
Yeah, but when you look at the woman from The Living Daylight, she was just a victim right the way through. She didn't do anything other than get in the way or having Bond having to rescue her.
She was a sniper as well, weren't she? Remember?
Yeah, but you look at like Barbara Bach, Mrs. Ringo Starr. She was an agent. She almost killed Bond. She'd rescued him several times. Bond rescued her at the end of the movie, but and that happens in every sort of like. Well, actually, no, it doesn't happen in every movie because Michelle Yeoh, she didn't need rescuing. And she was a Chinese agent, wasn't she?
But then you speaking of that, then you got the in You Only Live Twice. She was she worked for the Chinese Secret Service.
Yes.
In that one.
She did. And she actually went back and brought the ninjas to attack the volcano layer.
Yeah.
And she attacked with him. She never had to get rescued either. So Bond has had loads of like really strong sort of like female sort of figures, but I just it's just this woke culture in it at the end of the day.
Yeah,
but it's boring nowadays.
There's one thing I want to talk about, and this is a very, very sensitive subject. I watched a drama, a 4-part drama with Steve Coogan.
Oh, I watched that as well, Savile.
Called The Reckoning, which is the story of Jimmy Savile.
My God, he was good in it.
Do you know what? I mean, there was a meaning to this because we had the people that were actually abused in it.
Yeah.
As well, which was touching because you were hearing their story. But my God, he deserves something for playing that character. I can't believe how well.
Oh, he deserves an Oscar for it.
It would be a BAFTA, wouldn't it?
Well, yeah, but you know what I mean.
They won't give it to him because it's Jimmy Savile. It won't happen. I don't think it won't.
But he should, because he was brilliant. He inhabited Jimmy Savile. He was so convincing as a kid who grew up watching Jim'll Fix It, watching him on Top of the Pops, everything. It was like, I always thought he was weird, if you know what I mean, because he always looked weird, but he was Jimmy Savile and he did good. That was what you saw as a kid, because that was the image that everybody portrayed of him, even though all this horrible stuff was going on in the background and people were covering it up for him, and it was awful. Absolutely awful.
It's a horrendous travesty of what happened. But I think obviously we're not here to say the BBC could have been wrong in how. I mean, there's a lot of ways it could have been handled better. It never was, for whatever reason, but I think moving on.
The BBC still has its problems. Let's look at Russell Brand. Let's look at other people.
I think with this being made by the BBC is a way of trying to apologise for a little bit as well. I think.
I thought it was made by Netflix.
It's a BBC drama. It's on BBC.
Oh, yeah, of course it's I thought it was on Netflix. I'm sure I'd watched it on Netflix.
I watched it on BBC iPlayer. And watched all 4. It's all 4 episodes are on there all together. So they're an hour long. So that's 4 hours worth of.
Yeah, I mean, I watched it all. I definitely watched it all. But I mean, it was an absolutely brilliant series.
It would be it's very sensitive subject as well because of what happened and everything else. I then went back and then rewatched When Louis Met Jimmy, which is Louis
Theroux,
and he's a very good. That was interesting to.
No, he's not. I'm sorry, but everybody says, "Oh, he's a brilliant,"
He's a good journalist.
No, he's not.
Don't you think so?
No, because he was best buddies with Savile. And Savile, when you actually listen to some of the things he was telling him what he was doing, and he didn't notice it.
You see, I think again, this is probably where Savile was so clever, probably because he hoodwinked the NHS and everybody else. He hoodwinked a lot of people, and
but he also blackmailed and corrupted other people as well. To be able to do that, and that was the main issue. But I found a YouTube clip of what was it again? So excuse me, that was Steve Coogan as a teenager talking to Jimmy Savile and doing an impersonation of him. It's on YouTube. You can find it, and he's obviously been destined to play this part for whatever reason. Yeah. But I mean, there's a lot of dramas out there which are real stories about killers and all sorts and whatever. But it's interesting to watch it, and it's just very well put together TV from that point of view. Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. When we talk about Louis Theroux, he makes entertaining documentaries, definitely. And from that perspective, he's good. But as he is an investigative reporter and he had unfettered access to Savile, and Savile was telling him and he didn't pick up on it, no, he's not a good
But he
journalist.
did actually ask him. Didn't I think? Did he ask him it? I can't remember if he asked him that certain question. I'm not going to talk about it now, but I just.
I'm sure that he did at some point, but then he didn't. Though there is, because obviously, don't forget, I'm working, with social workers and stuff like that, and there is a term which I am quite sure journalists have to live by as well, which is about professional curiosity. So, and that's
the same within the story with the guy that was doing his story in parts during the series. He gave up and he thought, well, I'm not getting anywhere with this, but I've got my own things to think about because I've got a funny feeling, mate, you're not who you say you are.
Yeah.
And
but this is the thing that social workers have to have this thing called professional curiosity, which is about not taking face value of things and digging down and checking. And that's what didn't happen. And that's what an investigative reporter does. There's a difference between being an investigative reporter and making an entertaining television series. They are different things. He definitely makes entertaining documentaries, but it's obvious he hasn't looked in a constructive. I
think he realised that now because I listened to an interview with him since all this had happened and finished, and it was all came out. And there was a couple of interviews I listened to him talk to people, which were discussing all of this. And I think he realises he may have made mistakes, possibly. Doesn't everybody?
We're all human. I'm not being funny about the guy, but
no.
He's an entertainer. I don't think he's an investigative journalist.
No, the sort of people he interviews. I mean, there's a lot. I mean, some of the stuff he's done is really oddball at the best, and that's what's fascinating, anyway.
I mean, I love like the ones that he's did where he went to the right wing American sort of side and
that family as well.
Family and then he went back to them, and then he went to the
Chicken Ranch.
I was going to say the brothel in Texas and stuff like that. They're all really fascinating, stories, and he makes them very humane and stuff like that. But that's a different thing. That's an entertainment.
I think if you go back and listen to some of the interviews, I think he tries to explain some of that. I'm not saying what's right, what's wrong, because I don't even know. But all I know is that
the thing is that Jimmy Savile was a man who was evil, and he hoodwinked a nation.
My first wife I was married to, her sisters were both on Jim Will Fix It. They were aged about, I'm going to say 7. Their mother was with them all the time. It was only, I could say they got away lightly, probably. Who knows? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, people who do that, it's sickening. It really is.
Coming away from that, because that's not what we're here to talk about. Just the TV show was well put together, and I just praised David Coogan, how he portrayed it. I mean, if you want to hear his thoughts about it, there are things there where he's been on some of these women's early morning shows and that, talking about it. But I think the people that were on there that actually were abused and came out forward to a certain degree.
Very brave.
Very brave, and I think they praise him for what he did, really, to make it all known. And we've had a lot of that since that. We know a lot of DJs and there's been some rights and wrongs, and people have tried to hit the bandwagon. But anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about. But
it goes to prove the caliber of his acting.
Yeah,
it was absolutely superb. He did a great job. It was a really entertaining show in terms of that learning about what went on. I don't mean like as in fun, because it was a hard watch.
It was a hard watch. It's a drama. It was very serious, but it gave you an insight to what that person was.
Yeah, and about how he developed over time as well. Because in terms of anything like that, there is a psychology about the normalization of terms of what you're doing, and then you sort of like you get, even though you know it's not right, you convince yourself it's right, sort of thing. And I just think it was absolutely fascinating how they did it. So I think that everybody involved should be praised for it. The victims who stood up, the actors in that show. It was one of the best things that's been on TV in a very long time.
Absolutely.
We
need to move on. I didn't realise it's 10 o'clock.
Yeah, okay. Let's move on to what I've been watching, because I'm going to the opposite end of the spectrum, to be honest, with this. So, in terms of, as far away from truth and real things as you possibly can, because I always prefer a bit of escapism. But Loki season 2. So I've been really enjoying Loki season 2. About 3 episodes in. Maybe not quite as good as the last one, but that's probably because the last one was really fresh. It took Loki in a bit of a new direction and stuff like that, and then you were learning about the TVA and that sort of stuff. I love the new characters that have been introduced in this. So one of the characters is played by OB. Is OB played by K-Hugh Kwan, who's from the Temple of Doom and Everything Everywhere All at Once sort of fame. I like the fact that they took was it from Guardians of the Galaxy or something like that? I can't remember which one of the Marvels it was. But Jonathan, it was Ant-Man, that was it. The introduction of Victor Timely, obviously still played by John Majors, who's like a prominent figure in this, because it's like sort of the story is that the TVA has been sort of reset because what happened in the end of Loki season 1, and then Loki appears at the TVA and they don't know who he is. All of the images of the timekeepers has disappeared, and it's got like statues of Kang the Conqueror on there and stuff like that. And then other stuff happens anyway, but they end up going back in time and meeting Victor Timely, who is one of the variants of Kang. I've got some theories about this. Some of them are really wacky and wild. I think that maybe the bad guy in this isn't actually Kang, which is an interesting thing. I think it's another character, one that was from season 1, that is maybe not all human. But obviously what this is very much doing is setting everything up now for Deadpool 3 and the Kang Dynasty, because obviously we know that Deadpool 3 is going to have the TVA involved with Deadpool, because he's creating branches on the timeline and they're trying to strim them. So he's that's going to be an interesting sort of ride, which I think is how they're going to bring in the X-Men. Either that, or else they're going to say they've been there all of the time and we've just not been covering it. And then obviously right at the end of the last episode that has just aired on Friday this week, which was episode 3, I think. Wow, what a great way to end the episode. It really ended it on a cliffhanger. My understanding is that this series will end with a more definite ending than the previous Loki, but still able to be expanded into a new series following the events of Kang Dynasty. So what if you watch season 1 and you enjoyed it, definitely watch season 2, because it's I've been enjoying it. Second one is Gen V. So this is a spin-off series of The Boys that tells the tale of a group of American teenagers. I say teenagers in inverted commas because they're mid-20-somethings at a school for kids who have been treated with Compound V, which is the thing which makes superheroes. So parents could buy Compound V from Vought Enterprises to give their child, an unspecified superhero power if they wanted to. So there's lots of kids there. This links directly into the events of The Boys, with references to other characters like Homelander, and what happened at the end of the last season, where Homelander killed a member of the public with his laser vision, literally just splattered him.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's all talk about should Homelander, be taken to task and prosecuted for what he did, although he does lots of good for everybody, and it wasn't an unprovoked sort of thing, but he shouldn't have used his powers against a normal human, and blah blah blah. And there's some great characters in this as well, and also good actors, because Clancy Brown's in it.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's the head of the superhero crime fighting department of the school.
I haven't seen him in anything since he was in Dexter, in the new series of Dexter.
Right. No, Clancy Brown's in this, so yeah, he's there, and he's great as he always is. This is a very, very graphic presentation, like The Boys is. So it's not one that, if you're faint of hearted and you don't like to see lots of blood and head exploding and stuff like that, or in one instance a guy's penis exploding, then don't watch it if you're easily offended, because you're not going to like it. But it's a really enjoyable show of the comics. It is what it is. This is the way that the sort of like comics are. This is just it's an adult superhero show at the end of the day, because of the R-rated content. But I've really enjoyed it so far. I think there's one more episode to go, so I'm looking forward to that. Cool. Have you watched any of them, or any of The Boys?
No, I did start to watch The Boys, but just didn't grab my attention for a bit for some reason.
Maybe try having another go, because I think you might quite enjoy it. The last one is on Apple TV, and that's the season finale of Invasion.
I don't have Apple TV, so I haven't really seen it.
So this is the second season of Invasion, and it's taking forward all of the events. Basically, what happened was, suddenly the Earth was invaded by alien spacecraft, and lots of people end up dying very, very quickly. The aliens have got some sort of like hive mind when they attack people, blah blah blah, and it's a very high production value sci-fi show, much like Foundation was.
Yeah.
And I'm sure we'll be getting season 3 of Foundation, and like the forthcoming new sci-fi show, or return of a sci-fi show to Apple TV, which will be For All Mankind season 4, and I'm really looking forward to that. But this one, it's set on Earth, and it's kind of like Independence Day, but a variation on it. Aliens have a hive mind, which we find out in this season, and a lot of humans have been killed in the initial attack. People are sort of like hiding and getting into groups and fighting together and that sort of stuff. But humans are starting to fight back against the alien hive mind, and it turns out that a small group of humans find that they can mentally project themselves onto the mothership of the aliens, and they can also communicate with the aliens, including some of them being able to control them with the mind as well. It's told with the whole normal load of Apple flair that they've been delivering on a number of shows, and this is a good watch for anybody with a sci-fi fan who's got a subscription to Apple TV. So I think, Craig, if you've not already listened to that, get yourself watching it now, because it's a good show. Because he did comment on Foundation a couple of weeks ago on our Facebook group, saying about how good it was, which I'd been saying for the last couple of years. Basically, it's fantastic. I've really enjoyed those shows. But yeah, For All Mankind is going to be the next one, which I'll probably talk about episode 1 next time, and that's For All Mankind. What it is an alternative American history where the Russians beat America to the moon.
That's right. I remember you saying about that. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's about the last season had gone to Mars. And they had a race to get to Mars against the Russians, and then things went wrong and blah blah blah. So there's the good shows, as it were. But yeah, definitely worth the Apple subscription at the moment, because I'm also watching another one. I can't remember what it's called. It's something like Staying Up or Still Up, or I think it's Still Up, which is about a couple of people who have insomnia, sort of like a romantic comedy. And then there's also on there The Morning Show, which has got Jennifer Aniston on it, which is like the Good Morning America sort of thing.
I've seen some shots from that.
Yeah, and that's really good. It's a good drama. It started off as well. It had Steve Carell on, where he was like a shamed host of the show. So yeah, it was there's some good shows on there, including like The Silo as well, another good show. That's season 1's finished of that. I'm looking forward to season 2 because it ends on a really great cliffhanger, does that. Anyway, I think that's got us to the end of movies, TV and streaming. So shall we go on to the last bit, which is our listener questions.
John, what's happening to us?
All right, so we'll listen to questions, and we'll start off with Mark as normal and saying, are gamers better off with major developers being owned by a few companies, or would we benefit from more of them being more diverse gaming environments?
We're finding more and more of them now coming together to make bigger companies, aren't we? Where Sony and Microsoft are taking the cherry off the tree. If you're managed well and looked after well, you've probably got more of a good solid base to complete in a game, where some of these developers have had to get a bit of a rough time and some of these games get abandoned. And they can get them done if they got more, I say again, more money behind them as well, which some of these companies will give them. They will probably get some more games out than they may have not done if they were independent companies.
Yeah,
I don't know what you. That's what I can make. That's probably the bones of it, to be fair.
Yeah, I mean the thing is that games are getting increasingly expensive to develop, especially where they start putting in the multiplayer stuff, because then you've got to have all of the servers and stuff like that running forever, however long, and you start having to looking at ways to finance it and stuff like that. So being owned by Microsoft or Sony, that sort of thing, can make the game companies have more stability. I do think on the same wavelength that the other side of that curve is, I do think it does maybe inhibit a bit of creativity, but I do think that we have nowadays a very active indie community. There's some great games on indie games now, and they're getting more and more complicated in terms of how they how they look, and the production values are, in some games, approaching the production values of big companies that are owned by Microsoft, etc. So I think it's a bit of swings and roundabouts myself.
It is, yeah.
Because you're right, some games might never get made if they were just an indie company. And to be honest,
funding is hard at the end of the day, and you've got to have developers, you've got to keep hold of them, and it's not easy.
Yeah, and I think at the end of the day, when we come to the whole aspect of, well, if it's owned by Microsoft or it's owned by Sony, it's just going to be on that platform. We have an option of choice in terms of what platform that we want to use. And quite ironically, it's the one thing that Microsoft has been trying to go towards, this more all-inclusive, we play games on our console, play games on their console sort of approach, and not having all of the exclusives. And as gamers, a lot of gamers complain about exclusives, but then the first thing that gets shot at Microsoft and Xbox is, the Xbox has got no exclusives. So we obviously want exclusives. So let's stop trying to kid ourselves and say we should get rid of exclusives. And if you want to play anything, buy both consoles, and or all three, because obviously don't forget the Switch. So if you want to play everything, buy everything that the games are on, and stop complaining about, I've got to buy it on 3 consoles when you want the exclusives of different consoles. Otherwise, we'll just have the same thing on the same thing, and let's just have one platform, and then we will be in trouble as gamers.
Yeah, competition is healthy.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
But the thing is, it's an oligopoly more or less at the moment. Anyway, do you want to do this next question?
As it's a short one, I can read it. Yeah. Who do you hold up as most consistent developer of recent years?
Insomnia.
Bungie and Bethesda.
Yeah, because Bethesda do consistently make broken games. That is very true.
They have come out of the woods with this game that's hardly.
You have heard about all of the complaints that have been about bugs in Starfield. Then
I have listened to a lot of YouTubers, and there's the odd one or two, but it's one of the best polished games they've ever brought out.
That they've ever brought out, but other manufacturers have brought out more polished games.
Bethesda have done some other stuff that was on PlayStation as well, haven't they? So there's been other games they've brought out. Obviously, I'm not talking Skyrim down to Fallout 4 because that's quite a while ago now. That's quite a few years ago.
Yes, it is. That is very, very true.
I mean, even biggest CD Projekt Red, they've only brought out 2 big games, but it's taken so long to bring them out with The Witcher and CD Projekt and Cyberpunk.
Yeah. But I think if you look at
Naughty Dog's another one though as well, isn't it? Really?
Yeah. Yeah, Naughty Dog.
Not of recently though, I don't think, have they? But
no, they haven't. No, but that's why I say Insomniac. Because they've just done Spider-Man 2, which is a lot bug-free. There's not many bugs in it. The Miles Morales didn't have a lot in.
They did a game fresh but Xbox as well, didn't they? Insomniac.
What was it? Yeah, it'd been a Ratchet and Clank game.
No, it wasn't it that skateboarding one? Well, not skateboard, where you were grinding the
Tony Hawk's or whatever.
No. You're grinding as a person. You're grinding all sorts of stuff. Do you remember when you run around and jump around like an idiot? It was very cartoon-looking. The way it looked. Yeah, looking at all their games now.
I am, yeah, because they've done Disruptor, Spyro the Dragon, Spyro 2, Spyro Year of the Dragon, Ratchet and Clank, Going Commando. Well, just basically the Ratchet and Clank games, aren't they? Which is a lot of them. Resistance 2, Resistance 3, Outer Fuse, Sunset Overdrive.
Yes,
that's the one you were thinking about, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, they've done loads of really consistently good games, but certainly over the last few years, Marvel Spider-Man, Seedling, Stormland, Strangelets, must admit some of those I haven't played. Spider-Man, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. I've just started playing that for the first time, even though I've had a PlayStation for 2 years. And really good game actually, because I never used to really rate the Ratchet and Clank movies, but really nice. It plays really nicely.
Yeah.
Sometimes a little bit struggling in terms of where you're supposed to go, but hey ho. But yeah, I think that they're one of the better developers, to be honest.
Also, there's someone else you could probably add to that. Oh God,
Supermassive.
Yeah, thank you. That's it. That's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, so I was thinking of the same thing. Supermassive games with The Quarry and everything. House of Ashes, Man of Medan. all of those sort of games, they've all
And
been really
go back to the first one I played on the PlayStation Pro when I bought that.
Yes.
I can't think of the top of my head now. I'm too tired. Yeah,
they all produce really good games. And what about Square Enix? Because Final Fantasy
and Capcom as well.
Yeah.
I mean, they keep bringing out Resident Evil games, don't they? And also some some fighting games as well.
Yeah, but the Resident Evil 3, the remake, wasn't very good quality, was it? From what I remember people said.
No, number 3 was, it was all right.
Okay.
I think so, yeah. And then they've done Resident Evil 4 recently. I've not played that one yet.
Yeah, 4's supposed to be really good, but I've heard that 3 was just not very good and quite short.
That was the Resident Evil 2. Resident Evil 3 is one with the Hulk. Well, not the Hulk, but you got the character that keeps coming chasing you through the game.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But no, that was 2.
No, it wasn't 2.
Yeah, it was. It was
Nemesis. No. Nemesis. Resident Evil Nemesis was the third game.
No.
Resident Evil 2 was completely different.
Resident Evil 2 had the guy in a big coat and a hat that you could shoot off.
Yeah, that was in the second half of the game when you was in the clock tower. But that was
no, it was in the police department as well.
Yeah, but the clock tower of the police station.
Oh right, yeah, okay,
that's where it was.
Yeah.
Then you had the other side of it, where the helicopter crash was, and you had to get around there, all the way around that to get back round again. And
yeah, because that was where he first appears.
Yeah. That's it. That's not until way into the story. It's not Nemesis. He's through the whole game. He's chasing you right through the whole game from the very beginning. But that was Resident Evil 2. The movie was Nemesis, because that was when it was put into that film as well. You remember?
Yeah. But I do think that Square Enix have always been really quite solid in terms of the Final Fantasy.
They do enough drag them out, don't they? And they take a while to come out, don't they? They're really. It's a shame they never consistently can be out on certain machines.
But look at the size of the games. And in terms of on certain machines, you've also got to consider about the PlayStation exclusives. That, Final Fantasy has to be on a year before on PlayStation before anywhere else.
Yeah, before I fall asleep. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Anyway, Paul Wilson. Shall I read it?
Yeah. Go on. Yeah.
Okay. Oh no, sorry, we missed out Scott Kidd. Sorry.
Yeah.
So the 3DS. Is it time to hack it now before the friends code server closes and the hack then never work?
That's a question for you, I think. Sorry.
Yeah, I suppose it's what you want to get out of it, Scott, to be honest. My understanding is that the 3DS is very easy to hack now. You can put your ROMs on and stuff like that. The thing that appeals to me about it is, when I say ROMs, I mean, ones that you might have on other machines, on your PC or whatever, if you're doing emulation on there. But the thing that really appeals to me is the fact that you can actually put your ROM in and then download the ROM to an SD card, and then you can do that with all of your games that you actually own. So that you don't have to keep swapping and changing them. You can just keep your SD card in and play from them there. So from that perspective, that seems to me to be a good thing, because you're not going to be able to get any of your store purchases back now, because all of that has been twilighted. So you're pretty much, a lot of that stuff is effectively abandonware, because Nintendo are not supplying it in other formats. Which is a great shame. But, I've started buying 3DS games for the little, 3DS console I picked up the other day, which I've got around here somewhere. And I can't. Oh, there it is. Yeah, I've got my 3DS right here. Great little console. Really happy with it. Even plays Starfield.
Yeah.
Well, you saw the picture I sent you.
Can't play a game like that on a screen like that. Don't happen.
Anyway, So what if you had one? Would you hack yours now?
For me?
Yeah, if you had a 3DS.
Well, yeah, if it's coming to the end of its life, then yeah, of course.
Yeah.
People did it with the other handhelds of the day, didn't they?
Yeah.
You know, PS, whatever it would have been then, I can't remember now.
PSP.
Yeah,
PS Vita.
Mm-hmm.
PS Vita's got a lively hacking community, to be honest, and a homebrew thing, because that's the other thing as well, is the homebrew game market for the 3DS, because it's actually quite a powerful little system when you actually come to it. You know, and the graphics are much improved over the DS and the DS Lite. But anyway, Paul Wilson is asking, AI, is it already flexing its creative muscles? In the future, will there be a need for game developers if an AI advances to such a degree that a gamer can ask the AI to make them a game based on their own preferences using a basic recipe of requests in the style of type games, difficulty styles, etc.?
If it's AI is going to try and take over the world and be the most powerful sentient, you know, who knows what you can do with it?
I personally, I think that the answer is that it has the potential, but, and this is the big but, is where is that AI coming from? Is that going to be like the AI in Her, where it's on a little device that you put in your pocket, and you know you can talk to it and that, and it becomes a bit like a digital companion, stroke secretary or whatever? Or is it going to be something that you kind of subscribe to, or you go to like ChatGTP and that sort of thing and you put stuff in? Because if you do that, then your creative control you are starting to lose, aren't you? So, you know, you could type in the most descriptive thing that you want to do, but I would say that places like Microsoft will say, well, if you want our AI to do that for you, it's going to cost you £70 because that's going to create you a new game.
And also the database, what it's picking out from to bake it as well. It's obviously where it's going to.
Yeah, but that database is going to constantly get bigger and bigger and bigger. I mean, have you actually tried using ChatGTP in that?
No, I haven't. No.
Right. Well, I have. In a matter of fact, I did, and it really worked well because I saw a pickup in the number of YouTube subscribers that we were getting. But I did at one point start going in and typing in ChatGTP, write me a YouTube description for a Let's Play video for X, and then it would put it on, and then I would go through and edit it a little bit just to, you know, because sometimes when you've made the video and you think, oh God, I've got to write a description as well, you're kind of like thinking, I can't be bothered. So I used it as a starter for 10. And actually,
are you Bamberg Gascoigne?
Yeah, starter for 10. But it was, you know, it was a good way to get that initial inspiration, and then I just cut out or added to it as I saw fit. But yeah, it was just an easy way of actually doing that. And when you actually look, because they're normally the more verbose descriptions that are put in, because I've kind of like stopped doing it now, but I should do, just to maybe have a bit more impact in terms of the SEO for the YouTube channel. But yeah, it's definitely creative. But I've also gone in and done things like asked it to design things for me. So, like for example, my son has a nickname for me, and that nickname is Grumpy Badger. So
I get that.
Yeah, because I'm sort of like, badger striped, and I'm always happy. So that's why he calls me Grumpy Badger, because it's sort of like the opposite in terms of my personality. But yeah, that's his nickname for me, which I've always hated. And I thought, okay, I'm going to turn that hate into a positive, because I've been toying with the idea of starting a couple of other YouTube channels. One is to do with the teaching that I do, And then the other one, I've actually been thinking about doing a YouTube channel of dad jokes, and it would just be YouTube shorts. So it'd be, the joke would be less than a minute. So it's just like quite punchy sort of things, but maybe doing it with my son so that it's like a reaction to him, or his reaction and my saying it, and I would do it like really straight deadpan, and he would, he'd have to try not to laugh, sort of thing. That was the sort of a thing that we were thinking about doing, because it was over the summer holidays, and we're thinking, what could we do together? And that was something that we came up with as an idea. So then I thought, well, if I'm going to do that, then I want to like have a bit of branding over all of those channels that I'm doing. So I thought, well, actually, why don't I use Grumpy Badger, and I'll do Grumpy Badger Productions. And that was how that was what I was thinking. So I went on to ChatGTP, and I kept putting in descriptions for Grumpy Badger in the style of an anime, or, a manga, Grumpy Badger with a sword, or, and a headpiece and stuff like that. And I just put in lots of variations.
You'd have to have a Grumpy Badger emblem or some sort of badger.
That's what I was
proper
wanting
badger.
to do.
Yeah.
That's what I was wanting to do. But I thought, rather than try and draw it myself, because my talent in art is not so great, I can get Photoshop to do things like, logos that we've got, which I obviously did. But when it comes to like drawing a badger, got a clue. That's not where my skill lies. But I thought if I could get AI to do the badger that I wanted, because what I know exactly what I want. I want a face-on view of a badger looking cross, like like eyebrows looking like sort of like that, with a bit of a harumph sort of view. But then, like in a circle saying like Grumpy Badger or something like that. I don't know. That's the sort of logo I was trying to look for, and I kept putting in descriptions, but I couldn't quite get what I wanted. And for some reason, even though I was typing in the word culture, it kept spelling it wrong on the banner. Do you know what I mean? And it was like, it spell it with a K, or it spell it with an O, or or whatever. When I was like trying to do, trying to experiment for our show to say, oh, maybe we could have a refresh of the logo, do it in the style of whatever it is, pop art and stuff like that, which is obviously what the inspiration was for ours anyway. And I just couldn't. It just kept spelling stuff wrong, and even then I'd say, "Can you please redesign that, but spell that word correctly?" Because you can put in anything you like and it picks it up, but then it'd spell it wrong in a different way. And it'd say, "Can you redo it again, but then this time spell this word in this particular way?" Then it'd change another word. It's sort of like, for God's sake. So I just gave up because I had too many YouTube videos to design and not enough time to fiddle about with ChatGTP. But yeah, I've been trying that, and doing it for other stuff as well, because it is quite useful when you don't have the actual talent to be able to do it yourself, but you want something that's going to look quite professional at the same time. Sometimes using that sort of stuff, I can see why people would do it, but equally I can understand why actors get really upset by it, and artists and music makers, or artists of any description anyway, because it does take away from their livelihood in that sort of respect. But to be honest, how I'm using it, I wouldn't be going to an artist and saying, "Can you design this for me?" Because I wouldn't be able to pay them. So because we do this for free. We don't get paid. If anything, it definitely costs me money to do this show, because I buy more than I would normally. So, and I'm sure you're exactly the same.
Yeah, Game Pass actually helps as well, actually, to be fair.
Yeah, to be fair, Game Pass has been like a godsend.
Absolutely, because you wouldn't be buying all those games like that. It'd be just way too much.
And also PlayStation Premium as well. But less so PlayStation Premium, because you don't have like the brand new titles on there.
No.
In the same way. Jason 2's question then. Last one. With Halloween on the horizon, and this is one definitely for you, what's your favourite horror movie and scary game?
A scary game. There's been so many over the years. Even Resident Evil 2 comes to mind, or one of the later Resident Evils, which was in that house with the old man. And even this new version of Dead Space is very creepy. Before we go into movies, what about yourself? While doing that, I'm just going to go somewhere. Just 1 second, I'll be hit back. Carry on talking, though.
I can't very well carry on talking when we're doing a video, Steve. Did you forget about that? We're doing a video.
Say again?
I said, I can't very well carry on talking because part of the video is you reacting to stuff. I knew you were going to put that mask on. I absolutely knew it. My son, for what do you call it, is going as Ghostface.
Hang on. Ghostface, I saw that.
Yeah, he's going as Ghostface. My favourite scary game. Probably Dead Space or Alan Wake.
Yeah, I did like that.
Yeah, Alan Wake was good. Control was another. But yeah, those one of those.
What about films? That's great. Anything else? I mean, I do like the old vintage movies like The Exorcist and Carrie, The Omen, I Spit on Your Grave, the Zombie Trilogy, Day of the Dead, Dawn of the Dead, Night of the Living Dead. God, how many can I think of? Oh, there's loads up there. You know.
Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah, Shaun of the Dead. There's plenty out there, isn't there, mate? Yeah.
Yeah, It. Yeah, I do like the It movies. I do like Halloween. I have to say.
The original is actually 45 years old this week.
Yeah.
So it's weird because my Blu-ray disc is the 40th anniversary. I've had that 5 years. Blimey. Can't believe it.
Yeah, it's amazing how time flies, isn't it? But yeah, I mean, me and my son, we've been watching Scream, rather. To be honest, I'm kind of like, Scream to me, I know it's supposed to be an 18, but it's not really scary, is it? Do you know what I mean? Yeah, it's
it's not on the same par as Friday the 13th or
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, I think I've probably seen more scary 16s than I have the Scream movies because they're so completely predictable, and that's what's great about them. But what gets me is because my son's not quite 18 yet, he's doing A-level media, but he's watching 18 movies for it.
We do that. I mean, yeah, they do. I mean, I remember someone telling me they watched The Fly.
Yeah.
The Jeff Goldblum one, you know.
And I'm sort of like, yeah.
And the Thing, because that's, again.
Yeah. But, I mean, The Fly is bloody horrifying. I mean, that is like sort of, it's not scary, it's gross. You know, when he's sort of like goes like that and then his ear drops off and stuff like that.
Even when he uses his vomit, which obviously is very acidy as a fly.
Oh yeah, and he burns through that guy's ankle.
Yeah.
I mean that is really gross.
And he starts sucking it up, then, doesn't he?
Yeah.
So,
that is really, really gross. But you know, I wouldn't want him to watch that sort of stuff quite yet because you know it's
18 for a reason anyway. Got a malt in here, look.
But for me, like Scream is not. I think that should be a 15, to be honest.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's not like it's a Dawn of the Dead where someone's, you know, pulling away out of their neck where a chunk of flesh comes and blood's coming out, is it? And something that's very Very clever like
Well,
that.
even Shaun of the Dead has what you call it from Black Book's being ripped open and his guts being pulled out.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, one of my favourite movies anyway is Shaun of the Dead. But I do like the Dawn of the Dead and Day of the Dead and all of that sort of stuff as well. I think as I'm getting older, I'm starting to reappreciate horror movies again because I went for a couple of decades not really watching them. And now I'm starting to watch them again.
See, I watched the last week. I mean, I watched the Texas Chainsaw Massacre again. I watched Damien Omen 2. I watched quite a few. I mean, because it's October, I normally just watch horror movies anyway.
I love Omen 3 with Sam Neill. I love it's one of that's my favourite.
I mean, it's not
movie.
the favourite of the three, to be fair, because the others are a bit more punchy.
I know, but I like that one. That was the one out because maybe it was because I watched the 1 and 2 when out. What years did they came out? Up to about 84, was it?
Well, Omen was in the 70s.
Yeah.
And then Omen 2 would have been tail end of the 70s, probably, maybe early 80s. It'd be quicker for you to do that than me to get to the disc from here. Can't even see it.
So the Omen, written in 1976, Omen 2, 78, and the Final Conflict 1980. So 76, 78, and 80 for those movies. So that wouldn't work out because I remember watching on TV The Omen when I was 10.
Now that came out August 1980, I think.
Was it? You sure?
It was
about 78.
No, it was.
Sorry, 76 rather.
No, it came out, but when it was shown on television for the first time, it was about. I looked it up actually because it was a place I go to for that sort of information about when TV broadcast it.
Right. So if TV first broadcast it in 1980, that would be about right because I'd have been 9. I know I watched it when I was at primary school.
Yeah. I think it was all good. Yeah, 31st of August, 1981.
Okay, I was right at 10. I initially said 10, didn't I? So so that's right. I would have been 10 in 1981.
And that's when I first saw it because it came out mid-70s when I would have been just too young. I wouldn't have gotten nowhere near it in the cinema because you wouldn't get in there.
Oh, I wouldn't have. And my mum and dad would have killed me if they'd have known I'd have watched it as well. But they used to give. I had a black and white TV in my bedroom, and I think it was on after the news at 10:30 or something like that. The first time it was on, and I was in bed, and I remember putting the TV under the duvet, and I was sat under the duvet with it, watching the TV. You know, seeing a guy's head get chopped off by the sheet of glass and all of that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I think that bit was by the time that happened, it was quite late. But yeah, 1980. Yeah, that was 1981 when it came out. Then I picked it up on VHS and later to watch the full widescreen version because it was obviously 4:3 on TV.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think I was about. What would it have been? It would have been about 1985. Would it have been that the Final Conflict was on? Or 84?
Well, I saw that at the cinema.
Well, you'd have seen that in 1980 then, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I went a lot. I went a lot to the cinema. 1979, 8, the 80s and the late 70s. I was at the cinema all the time. Every month, I was there for a couple of films a week. Please get to London as well. But yeah, I saw Damien Omen 3 because I read the books after seeing the first one. I read all the books, and then Damien Omen 2. I picked up with that as well, and then saw the other one in the cinema. I mean, it's just September the 1st on another website, but it was end of August, beginning of September.
Yeah.
I think there's something here about it. Here, it's quite funny. It's good. This it wasn't quite late, I think. Can't remember exactly. But it finished about 10 o'clock, I think.
I think it started after 10. Sure, it did.
It's a great little article here, newspaper cutting here, saying that a Samaritan squad took to the streets of yesterday to comfort people terrified by the TV movie watching The Omen. It's like... But yeah, no, there's a lot. I have a lot of 70s movies, Italian horror as well. You know, and there's some great old movies from the 70s or that came on straight to video, late 70s, 80s that came out. Life Force, that was horror sci-fi though. That one was.
It was, yeah. Horror sci-fi come voyeurism.
Yeah, and
with Captain Picard.
Yeah, and Magic, for example, was another good one. When a Stranger Calls, Extra, which is sci-fi horror. Yeah, it's loads to think about, and half my Arrow collection is all horror as well. Yeah. So,
presumably you've got Life Force from Arrow.
No, that one I never picked up. I've got a digital copy at the moment.
I've got the Life Force version of Arrow.
Yeah. I've it's not one in my collection, but I've got a digital copy of it.
Mm.
I'm going to be diving back into the 80s again shortly because I've now got a copy of In Search of Darkness Part 3.
Right.
And that's another 4-hour fest of horror movies, which goes into some of the more quirkier ones, like what we've got up there, Prom Night, for example, with Jamie Lee Curtis. Have you ever seen that one?
No.
Yeah, so a lot of kids, when they're kids, kill a girl, and sort of 8-9 years later, when it's their prom night, they start getting killed off.
Right.
And then David Cronenberg's early movies, Rabid and Shivers and stuff like that. You know, Scanners, The Brood.
Oh God, Scanners, yeah.
You know,
with Michael Ironside.
That's it. They're all sitting up there behind me.
Yeah. No. I used to watch Scanners.
Mm.
Yeah, I used to love that. God, classic films. And then RoboCop as well, because that was quite horrific in terms of, you know, like how the blue
all the squibs going,
and
yeah, and all the squibs going off of that guy at the beginning.
Yeah.
When the Ed 209 went malfunctioned and just shot that guy to bits.
Yeah.
You know, obviously the guy at the end getting wasted with the vat, you know, on the windscreen wiper of the vehicle. But yeah, American Werewolf in London comes to mind.
And in Paris.
That's a load of codswallop. Exorcist 3 was a good film. We don't talk about Exorcist 2 because that was a load of balls as well, but yeah. Anyway, my mouth is about to dry up again.
Yeah, so's mine. So do you want to do your normal sound off, Steve?
So YouTube, my YouTube channel is The Vinyl Cues, also is with Instagram. My PSN ID is The Real Steve 07, and on the Xbox it's Steve 07. I think that's everything.
Okay, so for me, you can get me on Twitter, PSN, Xbox Live, Steam, all as HERJ UK. You can also get me on Epic Games as Pop Culture Gamers. Don't forget, you can also go to our YouTube channel where maybe you're watching this episode. And you can get us at youtube.com/Pop Culture Gamers. On Twitter, we are Pop Culture Gamer. And we have a Facebook group. We have a Facebook page. Come and visit them both. If you want to email us, you can email us at podcast@popculturegamers.co.uk. Find us on Spotify, iTunes, and other podcast services as you like. So that's it for another few weeks. Thank you to Steve, because I know that you were feeling it particularly unwell at the beginning of this. And you've struggled through.
Thank you.
It's been a long one, and that's what she said. So it's a good night from me.
Yeah, good night from him.
Good night.